3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please, my sycamore. Touchdowns, cross lanes, and we sure seasons and yeah. Ain't no champions and chain no fear. Yeah, the champions.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. What an amazing day it is to be alive. I am your host, Jeremiah Bannister. You are listening to Paleocrat Diaries on the Holy Faith Media Network. It is Monday, December 28th. It's the first episode since Christmas. And I hope that you had a fantastic Christmas. And by the way, I'm saying that because the point of reference for most people is the holiday, right? For me, it is still Christmas time. In fact, I need to tell you, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm going to be saying Merry Christmas for a while because, you know, it's one of those things. It is one of those things. And to celebrate this, to continue the festivities, that's what this is. To continue the festivities, I decided to use, now, I got to warn you, I'm not able to use a straw with this. Okay. Normally, those who watch the show, they know that every single day it is straight to the dome with the coffee. And I do that through a straw normally. Through a straw. And I've got some fancy straws. I got some fancy ones. And right now I've got, wow, man, that incense is going strong. It's going right over top of the screen. People are like, dude, is there a fire going on in your house? I'm like, no, dude, I got some amazing incense burning. But I apparently have it right in front of the camera. It's like flying all over the place. All right, yeah. So I have my incense going. I got my specialty coffee here put together that we, man, I had the name of that particular place. I had it somewhere. But got it as a gift. Got it as a gift from my mom to the wolf pack. But then I got this. Check this out. Look at this. Start each day with a grateful heart. And I got this. Surprisingly, I got this from my mother-in-law. I got this from my mother-in-law. And so she got it for me. And I thought, you know, she knows. She sees it, right? Her son sees it. My brother-in-law, he sees it. He sees that I'm on every single day. And that I got that coffee raised high. And then I'm howling at the sun every single day with a huge cup of coffee. And so this one, man, it's super heavy, real nice. And look at that right there. I mean, that's basically the wolf pack, right? It's pretty much the wolf pack. It's what it is, guys. So we're gonna have a really, really, really good time today, right? Even without the straw, even maybe we can find a straw that's skinny that can fit in here because it got one of those like really small holes. But I'll tell you what, it has this cap that you can twist like that, and I really love it, man. I mean, it's just an awesome thing. Yeah. All right. So we got an amazing show for you. I'm going to talk a little bit, of course, about Christmas. I'm going to talk about some things that happened during that time. Some gifts that I got, by the way. Some gifts that I got, because that's really exciting. Got a whole bunch of books and other things, including, what is it, an air cooker? Man, that thing's changed my life. It's totally changed my life. Have any of you ever, do you own an air cooker? Have you even heard of an air cooker before? It's one of those things where once you get it, once you have it, chicken will never be the same. Chicken will never be the same. Even the sausage. I had sausage yesterday, man. It'll never be the same. little omelets. I mean, it's got everything. You can, everything. I don't know if you can cook soup in it, though. I don't know if you can cook soup in it. We're going to talk about different gifts. And in fact, I'd be interested to hear not only of the gifts that you enjoyed this holiday season and some of the experiences that you had, but also some of the worst. Like, what are some of the worst gifts that you've ever gotten? We're gonna share an article about that. But before we do, I've got a couple things we got to do first. First of all, let's get over here. First of all, the comment section. Okay. So in this comment section, as you can see, okay, you may be watching on any of these channels. You see that? I think we got 20. How many do we have today? 23. It says I'm active on 22 of the 23. I don't know what's up with that. So one of them is saying, I'm not going to play you, buddy. I'm not going to play your show. And I'm like, forget you, bro. It doesn't matter. We've got 22 different places that we're broadcasting to. And you can see, okay, yeah, I don't know what that is. It's on YouTube. But there's a whole bunch of YouTube channels. There's a handful of Facebook pages. You can see Twitch, DLive, Periscope. Oh man, one of the Periscopes is down too. Okay. So we've got a whole bunch of places where this show is broadcasting over at the exact same time. Now that makes it tough because you might be watching it and being like, well, I'm the only person commenting over here. Do not let your heart be troubled because you're not the only person commenting. Believe me, you can see it right here. And in fact, we'll go through some of these. This is a demonstration to show not only that I get to see your comments, but that we can engage throughout the show. Even when the comments page is not up, I can engage with you in real time. So I've got one set at the bottom that I can see that's scrolling in real time. And I've got one up high right here that you can see that I kind of keep where it is. And that way, if I want to go back and check, things, I can do that too. So, all right, right out of the gate, we've got Annette Conrad. Morning. Good morning to you, Annette Conrad. Mommy, very grateful to see you in the comment section every single time. Every single time. I told her, I said, it really brightens my day, Mom, when I see you in the comments. I love you like crazy. And just to know that it's gotten to the point where the things that I do in the morning do not drive her insane, but actually help to make her day better. I'm like, man, I've come a long way, Mom. I've come a long way since school. You know what I mean? So Phil Morgan, hello from Denver, Colorado. Hello, Phil. It's good to see you, man. I'll tell you, I don't know if you're a golfer, man, over in Denver, but Denver, I golfed one time over there. It was fantastic, and I'll tell you, it's so cool to play. If people aren't from an area like Denver, and then they go there and they play golf, they're gonna experience something so crazy. The sound of that ball through that air, goodness gracious, it's like you can hear it every time. It's like a video game. I said, man, I could play over here all the time. I could play golf all the time. There might, in fact, there might be news on that front to do with golf. In fact, with the old boy here, we'll find out. I may be partnering up with somebody. I might be partnering up with somebody for a special venture. Tossed it out for his consideration over the weekend. Pertaining to a kind of, golf invention. Something to do with golf, something to do with the equipment for golf, and something to do with trying to make your golf game much better. And so old boy here may end up working alongside someone real special, man. Someone real special, a real visionary, put himself on the line many years ago with a rather dumb-looking idea at first. It's one of those ideas where you're like, I don't know about that. But it has to do with part of the game that whenever somebody's talking about wanting to make their game better, it just happens to almost always be that. And so we'll find out. I don't want to reveal too much because we're talking about patents and stuff like that. So we gotta be really cautious about it. But keep your fingers crossed for old boy. So that it's our own pet rock. You know what I mean? It's like Office Space. You watch Office Space, and they're like, "Hey, man, the guy that made Pet Rock he's made $1 million," and you go, "Wow, man, you can come up with these ideas." And this is way better than the Pet Rock. This is way better than the Pet Rock, man. So yeah, but anyway, hello, Phil from Denver. Bethany says, "Hey, Mr. Paleo, our pack leader." It's true. It's totally true. That was a crazy remix for the intro. Oh yeah, that was really great. No idea why it did that, by the way. It was just like it was like all messed up. It was just skipping all over the place, stuttering. Believe me, it wasn't my idea. Let's see here. Welcome to day 28 of the final level of 2020. And where's your merch? You gotta ask Ailey this. You gotta ask Ailey this. She switched stuff around. She switched from the original store we were gonna do to a different one, and we were hoping to have it done before Christmas. I think maybe she's a little bit of a perfectionist to where she wants it to look, it's like the wife thing, They want it to look just perfect. The dude is saying, "Oh, it's okay, man. There's just, a couple piles of stuff on the floor. It ain't that big a deal." And the wife is like looking at him with the death stare. Same way with the shop. And so she's putting it together. She's already got, I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 different mugs and images that you can use. I think you can use them not just for mugs, but I think you can use the same images for like shirts and stuff. I don't know though. May have to have her come down here. I'm gonna have to just interview her sometime. I might need to get her like on a certain page here where whenever I want, I can just switch on over and boom, there she is. I don't know if she'll like that. She'll be like, well, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll say, well, that's kind of the fun, isn't it? I mean, doesn't that just fit your fancy? So, yeah, where's the merch coming? Hayden chose to support your Fab Fam and pack as one of her Christmas gifts, but where do we find it? Okay, first of all, Hayden, you're amazing. You come from a good, gene pool there, okay? You got a cool mom. You got a cool dad. But man, girl, I'll tell you what, amazing, 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 amazing human being. And that's the one I believe that we were talking about showing the speech that she did. Because I had a video of it, and I think it was a day where just the audio wasn't working or something. I was like, oh man, it's a bummer. And then we never went back to it. So if you share that with me, if you share her speech or any of those videos like the dancing stuff, you share it. I'll put it on the show. I'll put it on the show for the girl, man. She's amazing. It was just so cool to see her, by the way, at the Christmas extravaganza in Lansing, and to have her come up and to hear the story. Is Paleocrat really going to be there? Yes, I'm going to be there. Of course, I'm going to be there. I've been promoting that buyer. I'm part of the organization group. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys this, but old Gretchen Whitmer and company, man, they were trying really hard. They were trying really hard to stop it. They even set up like construction stuff, and they had which that may have been before, but then they had some contract basically with this guy to come out and do some lay some cement down on the steps, which would have made it impossible for us to use that. And he was supposed to, so the contract was set, right? The agreement was set after we got the permit, and the permit was for 4:00, and he was set to be done at 4:30. Good try, Gretch. Good try. Man, you kind of suck, woman. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, what did I call it? An air cooker? Annette says air fryer. Bethany says air fryer. I'm being chastised by the ladies. Look, at least I kind of know what I'm talking about. Most of the dudes admit. Most of the guys, unless maybe they're hunters, you know what I'm saying? Unless they're hunters and like the jerky and stuff like that, they may not know what that is. A lot of dudes might not know. But you ladies, my wife says it's called an air fryer. Yeah, so you know what I was talking about. Come on now. So okay, yes, an air fryer, not an air cooker. An air fryer. Yeah, Mark says fish sticks in the air fryer. You better believe, yeah, mind blown. Mind blown, Mark. And by the way, it is good to see you, my man. It is good to see you. And yes, dude, I can imagine that in that air fryer, that almost anything would be better. Am I right? I mean, seriously, what can you cook in an air fryer that in a regular conventional oven you're like, yeah, I prefer that, or the microwave? I mean, give me a break. That chicken, man, I'm still thinking about it. It's stuck in my head, kind of like that really stupid song about Mars. Nothing ever happens on Mars from Waiting for Guffman. I watched that. Dude, I can't get that out of my head. Nothing ever happens on Mars. I'm like, bah! Get out of there. Please leave me alone. Okay. So anyway, Ruth, good morning. Good morning to you, Ruth. I'm really grateful to see you in the comments. My tropical obsession says, did anyone hear about the bomb in Tennessee? I heard something that the explosion did not originate from the RV. I've heard this too. In fact, I've heard crazy things. As I said, I go out into the fringes, right? I'm out on the fringe of all the things. And I'm willing to go and entertain and look at some stuff that normally I'd be like, I don't know about that. I don't know about this group, or I got to weed through some crazy or some nasty in order to get there. But I check it out, and I saw a post having to do with shots that were taken from different cameras around that area, and some people talking even about a missile. I don't want to say, oh, it's a missile, guys. At the same time, I want to say I saw something that I'm investigating that is at least open to the idea that it wasn't what we're being told. And the buildings that were involved, and the people who were the executives within the buildings that were involved, and what would be affected by the explosion and things like that. I mean, there's a lot, really. Oh yeah, okay. I just got a really fancy thing. Okay. So so we're going to talk about it, but It's crazy. I mean, obviously, you never want anything like that to happen. Some people saying it's a suicide bomb. Some people saying the mainstream narrative is going to end up being that it was a person who was a conspiracy theorist regarding things to do with 5G, for example. That's been floating around, and so there's a lot with that. I to be brutally honest, not even in the mood to talk about it. I know it sounds crazy. People are like, well, I tuned in because I want to hear what you had to say about it. I'm like, well, what should I say? What do you think? If you've got links, by the way, if you have links that you think I should look into regarding this particular topic, send it to me. Because I'm willing to go down, practically any road, at least for a while. At least for a while. If I start to see, like, I don't think that looks good, I need to get out of here. If that's the case, then you got to book out of there. You got to say peace. I'm out. See ya. At the same time, there's a lot of adventures, man, that people miss out on because they're unwilling to, at least peek around a corner. So as you can see, Andrew Myers says, "Are you serious? Is that the Andrew from Kalamazoo?" Yeah, dude, it has been a while, brother, man. It has been a while, dude. Too long, in fact. It's a little bit upsetting. I'm a little bit grumpy about that. Saw that your sister, dude, dude, she's very pregnant. Like, I saw a picture yesterday on Facebook, and I'm like, dang, girl, you are, like, about to pop. I mean, goodness gracious. Now, don't tell me she's like, hey, no, she's only 3 months pregnant. She's not showing here. I'd be like, dude, bro, I am so sorry. No, I know that's not the case. But yeah, and congratulations to her, by the way. So Andrew says, yeah, hello from Kalamazoo. Yes, dude, and there really is, by the way, Kalamazoo. Maya, good to see you, Jeremiah. It's good to see you, Maya. It is fantastic to see you. Really glad that you are tuned in yet again. It's a great show, though, isn't it? It's a great show. Putting everything on the line, speaking from the heart every single day. Although, I gotta say, I'm a little bit upset. And it's funny because you and Bethany are tied up right there at the top, okay? These two at the top shared this post, right? Shared the post of my speech that I did at the rally, Maya did, and wrote this really, really charitable and very heartfelt and very flattering thing about me in the speech that I did, okay? And I can't even tell you how grateful I am for that. I'm just going to get past the stuttering and stammering and say I'm super grateful for that. It was overwhelmingly flattering. And so, but the thing is right beneath it, Bethany starts saying, man, that was, really powerful. That's really great. We know that he's going to love it, ... and it's going to make him cry. Or he's going to talk about it on the show. It's going to make him cry. I'm sitting there, I'm singing, I never cry. What are you talking about? I never cry on the show. Okay, maybe once, maybe one time. I don't know. But you two causing nothing but trouble. All right, Cherie. Good morning, Wolfpack. Ow! Good morning to you, Cherie. And CF says, jump to conclusions. Yes, Office Space. Man. I'm going to keep we're going to end with that one. In part because, and I normally wouldn't do it this way, but I think I'm going to. Give me a second here. Okay, Facebook. Okay. So I got a special thing here, man. Let's see here. This is a big deal, by the way. All right. See this guy? We're going to look at him right now. Come on. See this dude right here? His name's Isaac. That's my brother. And today is his birthday. I think Isaac, what are you, buddy? Because I heard rumor. In fact, I got a note. I'm not going to lie. I got a note right here. Check it out. Today is your brother's birthday, and he's watching. I love my brother. I've talked about him before. In fact, I shared a story. It was one of those situations where people were alleging that I cried. And it was about my mom and my brother and the accident that my brother was in and how he's impacted my life over the years and things like that. And he's just an amazing dude, right? He's an amazing guy. I don't get to see him enough. He's my younger brother. And so the joke about him being, 50 years old or something is not going to fly. Because I'm like, 29, 30 years old? I mean, he's got to be younger than me. And so he's definitely not 50. It's a bummer that he lives so far away. He lives in Pennsylvania. And, I got a lot of family over there. My mom's out there. My stepdad's out there, my brother. And a lot of her family is out there. And we get to see him a lot. Okay, we get to see my brother a lot, which is cool because they visit frequently. Right, they're in Michigan. They come over and they hang out with my sister. They hang out at our home, so we get to see him. But he's the kind of guy, man, I wish I could see all the time, And it's one of those things. And I'll say this because it's Christmas. My brother, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry, dude. I'm not gonna cry, buddy. Okay, all right. I love this cup, but man, I need a straw. Do we have skinny straws, by the way? If we have skinny straws, bring them downstairs, please. I can't do this. Drinking normal out of a cup. No way. So here's the thing. Years ago, I think I was in like maybe 10th grade. Or maybe even younger than that. I might have been in 8th grade, right? So 8th grade, I think my brother would have been in like 4th grade at the time. He was in special ed, and stuff. And it was Christmas, and we're over at my grandma's house. And I love my grandma, man. We all, she's one of the matriarchs, man. And so we're over at grandma's house. All the family's there. Dr. Derek is there, his side of the family. My dad, my mom, my brother, all of my sister. We're all there, having a really great time. And my grandma, she passed out gifts because it was always on Christmas Eve. So we used to go on Christmas Eve and enjoy time at grandma's house. And then on Christmas, we'd open up our family gifts. So they're passing out all the presents. And I'm the firstborn out of all the grandkids on that side of the family. So I'm like, I've been getting gifts longer than anybody else, man. I knew the rigmarole. I knew the shtick. Okay, I knew how it rolled at grandma's house. And so the thing is, that year, I'm watching as everybody's getting the gifts. And then they're all around the tree. And she's passing them out. And everybody's happy about it and everything else. And then I start to realize that I've got 2 gifts. Now, I was used to getting a lot more, okay? I was used to getting a whole bunch more every single year. But that year, for some weird reason that I did not yet understand, I had 2. And that was it. And that was infuriating, by the way. I was not a happy person. I was very, very mad about that. And so, I'm sitting there and I'm confused about it. And everybody's going around and they're opening their gifts. And I don't want to open my 2 right away. I kind of waited a while and stuff, spreading it out so that I'm not like doing the 2 and everybody else keeps on going. But I started to realize, number one, I've got, 2 gifts like a lot of the adults do. And mine's like 1 big one and 1 small one. The first one was a sleeping bag. And suffice it to say, sleeping bag was not on the Christmas list that I sent to Grandma, that she always said, send me your Christmas list. And I'm like, okay, I'll send it. Well, I did, and I thought a lot about it. I had things on there like Air Jordans. I think I had Game Boy or something like that. I had a bunch of video games. I maybe had a pair of Reebok pumps. If she didn't want to buy the Jordans, she could always buy me the Reebok pumps. I had all these things on there. Toys, video games, shoes, you name it. She got me a sleeping bag. And I was furious about it. And it keeps going around and going around. Finally comes back to me and I open it up. And what do I get? I open up the small gift. And it's a watch. It's a watch. And it's a watch. It's fancy though, by the way. It's like silver. It's got kind of gold plated stuff on it. I never had a watch like that. It was really fancy. And I'm sitting there and my heart just sunk. I was so upset inside. In fact, I was not just upset. I was just straight up mad. I was like, I spent time, Grandma, looking through catalogs. You don't know how many commercials I had to watch to come up with this. We didn't have internet. I couldn't go, oh, well, why don't you go on Amazon? No such thing, by the way. No such thing, by the way. I had to go to stores and look around and write down in a little notepad or look inside of a catalog or see a commercial, whatever. But there was no going online looking. And I spent all that time. And I wrote down all those things. It was a whole big list, exhaustive. And all I got that year was a stinking sleeping bag and a fancy adult watch. I was upset. And inside, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to look at anybody, but I wasn't like mad out, you know. Maybe they could tell in my face. I don't know, probably. But then I looked over and I see my brother, this guy. I see my brother. And he's got all these gifts, and they're like cheap, you know. They're toys and blankets and stuff, sheets. And he comes to his last gift, and he opens up that gift. And when he opens it up, you know, he's doing it from this direction, so you're looking. He's opening it up, and he can see something that I can't see. And all I can see is his reaction to it. And his face lit up. It was like joy overflowing. There's no way to describe that. And you could see the excitement in his eyes as he's looking at what he saw. And he stands up and he tears it all down. He turns it around, and it's a freaking nightlight. It's a Crayola nightlight. Couldn't have cost $5. He goes around showing each person, showing them. He's so excited, pointing at himself. A nightlight. And I look down and I see my gifts that I know together were hundreds of dollars. And thought was put into what that would be. I felt like a scumbag. I felt like the worst scumbag in the world. But I learned in that moment. And in fact, ever since, there have been times where I've been a little bit grumpy about, like, you know, some of the gifts and stuff, where I'm kind of like, really? You know, what's up with that? But at the same time, it was a paradigm shift in my life. It was a paradigm shift in my life where I really started to evaluate myself and say, what is my heart in all of this? What is this to me? Is it about the gifts? Am I failing to see the forest for the trees? Is that what it is? And this guy showed me. He showed me many things. And in fact, you know, it's one of those things where you learn lessons from somebody. I learned one, Special Olympics. And I don't remember what year it was, but the Special Olympics, if you've never been there, it's really amazing. It's just an amazing experience to be part of. And, you know, they do this kind of thing at the beginning where they make a promise to do their best. And really that there are no losers, really. That, you know, as long as you give it your absolute best, that's what matters. And that they're going to try, win or lose, you know, it's just the way that life is. And that it's okay, kind of thing. But the way that they frame it is way better. I mean, they're not doing what I just did. They've got it scripted out really well. It's like a creed kind of. And so they go ahead and they do that. Well, he's, you know, they're in the, you know, I don't know how many meter walk that they were in, you know, down the strip, you know, and they're walking, you know, because there's walks, you know, you got to walk kind of fast and give it your best for the walking and everything. And so he's in that, and with some other kids, and they're going around, and they have people who are helping them, standing by their side, encouraging them, saying, "You can do it, buddy, come on." And they're on the side, and he keeps going, and then he kind of gets tired, and they're like, "No, dude, you can keep going." And it's cute because sometimes some of the participants, well, they're just not having it. They're like, you know, well, that over there looks cool, bye, and they just leave, and everybody, you know, it's just fun. It's okay. And there was this person way back. My brother, man, he ends up getting like first place. Bugger used to be able to walk real fast. I think he did so much walking real fast that it's, you know, caught up to him. Now he walks really slow. So he's kind of moseying all the time now. He's like, I already did all that. I'm not doing it anymore. But the thing is that that person, right, who was way in the back, that person, you know, they were wanting to give up many times. And you could see the struggle. You could see it. And that person encouraged him, "You can do it. Come on, buddy." And that guy, and you could see, man, it was very dramatic. And everybody's cheering this guy way after the fact making it across the line. After it was done, they're sitting there and they're sharing, or they're looking at the medals, right? And they're hugging each other, and everybody's celebrating and everything else. And they're walking up and they're showing each other the medals that they got. And my brother exchanged his medal. He exchanged his gold medal for a bronze medal. And it wasn't even third place. It was just, it's one of those things. And the thing is, that medal still hung on his wall with no less pride. And he may have even forgotten exactly where he got that particular medal, because he got medals all the time. He's really good. But to me, that it's one of those things that it always stuck out. And I said, man, what a powerful thing. What a powerful life lesson. My life is literally filled with these because of this man. Because of this man. And so I'm just extraordinarily grateful. I'm extraordinarily grateful for everything that we've been through. And that's hard to say because, through an accident that leaves a kid in a coma, a 6-year-old in a coma with a closed head injury, a blood clot. Doctors, told my parents they should consider pulling the plug. Those were conversations, for me as a kid, overhearing, that have left a mark on me forever. To see him as he gets bigger, as he develops, and they, the doctors told him, they said, well, he's never going to walk again. Well, he walks. He's never going to know who you are or nothing. He's never going to know your name. He's never going to know who you are. He's going to be a vegetable. Nothing could be further from the truth. He's an overcomer. He's a champion. And he's my brother. And I'm really proud of him. And so I'm going to do something I don't normally do. In fact, I'm going to fail very, very, very badly. But I hope that you can all sing along with me. Okay? Which I know that's really bad, by the way, for the voice. Coffee, on the other hand. Coffee is very good for it. So here we go. So I want to sing Happy Birthday to my brother. I want to sing Happy Birthday to my brother. And as I was about to say it, I was like, I can commit to something different and escape this. Not going to do it, man. Not going to do it. So here we go. I hope you sing along with me. His name is Isaac, okay? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Isaac. Happy birthday to you. Hooray for Hoots. Hooray for Isaac. I need a clap track right now. I need a clap track. That wasn't half bad. If I can say so myself. I mean, not half bad. But I love that guy. I wish you many more years, my bro. I wish you many, many, many more years, buddy, because I love you with all of my heart, dude. You are an amazing man. You are an amazing man. You've helped to make me the man that I am today, right? As flawed as I am, with all the flaws and all the bad, maybe you're like sitting there thinking, I don't want to take credit for Jeremiah. But the thing is, for all the bad, if I look at all the good and I see the things that are really good inside of me, and how did those things come about? So many of those things came from you. So many. I remember, this is the last thing I'll say. Because this plays right into what I'm talking about. Okay? This is right into what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, and someone said copyright strike for me singing happy birthday. Probably. Dude, I just thought about that. Oh, no. We're putting it on unlisted right away. You gotta hide it, guys. We're gonna hide it and have to remove that, man. I'll play something. We'll do some weird thing for it. I don't know. But here's the thing. Before I go, I want to say this. Is that I remember, I'm not going to say anybody's name with this. I'm not going to say anybody's name with this. And again, I refuse. I'm not going to cry. This is raw. This is one of those things. This is real, man. This is not even a joke. So, years ago, there was a person in church. I grew up in Pentecostal churches, stuff like that, charismatic churches. And every once in a while, you run across a weirdo. Every church has their brand of weirdo. Pentecostal weirdos, that's like another level. I mean, there's a spectrum of that, ranging from, the word faith stuff, all the way over to, my kid's got a broken ankle or a bone sticking out of the leg. I'm going to, pray some healing verses, all the way over to, snake handling and stuff. So, I mean, there's a spectrum of weird. Right? And as I said, every church has got it, everyone. So the thing is that, one of these weirdos, one time came up and was talking about my brother, and threw out the idea with a degree of prophetic assurance that my brother is the way he is because the sins in my parents' life. I just want you to just kind of let that sink in for a minute. Imagine being the person. Imagine being the person who hears this. I think it may have just been my mom that talked to her. I don't remember. But to sit there and to say, I believe that the reason why your brother went through his accident and all of the surgeries and almost died and is mentally disabled, the reason why he has those issues in the mind, the reason why in many ways he will be a 6-year-old boy in a body that gets older, the reason why is not because of an accident, really. It's not even because, crap happens or that the rain pours on the just and the unjust, just like the sun shines on the just and the unjust. None of that. But because apparently there's some secret ancestral sin in somebody's life. No magic crystal ball to say what it was. Just speculation. Just, well, I think that's what it is. It's like, it's kind of neat. Have you ever wondered maybe if you're so prophetic and this is what it is, have you ever thought that maybe there's a possibility that God would also provide the exact thing that maybe people got to worry about? And not only that, but why would God be punishing Isaac this way because of some sin that you can't even identify in the heart of people that you barely even know? She got a magic crystal ball out of a Cracker Jacks box. These people are phony baloney, dude. It's like it's the ultimate LARP, by the way. It's the ultimate LARP. It's or it's like the people who go and they do karaoke, right? This is like the karaoke for the prophetic people. But I sat there and I thought about it. And I thought, you want to know something crazy? You want to know something crazy? I told my parents this. I said, people can look at that and go, oh, what a bummer. They could see him walk by and be like, he's always going to live with his mom. He might end up living with his, sister and brother one day. And they can feel such pity. And I thought about it and said, you want to know something crazy? He doesn't sin like we do. He has problems. He gets mad. Believe me, he gets mad. Sometimes if he doesn't get his way, he doesn't have very many things. He doesn't own a lot of his own stuff. He doesn't go out and get a job. He lives with my mom. And so to sit there and to be like, he gets upset maybe if someone doesn't, watch what he wants to watch. Or if he's super hungry, or there's, and nobody's eating and he has to wait for everybody else and he can't just go ahead and eat. That might make him mad. But the truth is, he doesn't lust like other people. He doesn't envy like other people. He doesn't lie like other people. He doesn't steal. He's not out murdering and raping. He's not doing any of these things. And in fact, he's the kind of guy that even when he got mad at my house recently. Got mad because we weren't eating on time. We were taking a while. And I had stuff I had to do. I could not begin eating right away. So it was postponed a minute. Not long. But boy, was he mad. And I sat down and I looked him right in the eye. I got on my knee and I looked him, in the eye. And he's sitting there, he's getting real mad, kind of slamming the taco on the table and stuff. And I asked him, I said, do you think Jesus is proud of that? That fast. It hit him. Immediately, he sat there and he goes, no. And he pointed at my bracelet. What would Jesus do? And he just said, boom, boom. That quick. And I thought, this is the punishment of God. This is the punishment of God. And I sat there and I thought, the woman who said that is going to have a life of stumbling blocks in front of her. External and internal. And there's no assurance that she's going to go to heaven I can imagine maybe, somehow this might be true for him, but highly unlikely. It's like getting a golden ticket in a way, because he has a golden heart. His heart is made of gold. The guy is a great human being. Childish, yes. Innocent, yeah. A hero, yes. An example, yes. A Christian, you better believe it. And I'm proud of him. And I would have pimp smacked that chick if she said that to my face. I would have, man, just blam, right across the freaking face, toots. And then I would have been like, oh, Lord, forgive me for that. And he's like, well, you're not your brother. Your brother would have let it roll. He'd have been like, what? I'm going home and watching Sandlot. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable what some people will do. But, dude, I love you, buddy. I hope you have an amazing birthday, okay? All right. We are going on to the very, very serious stories here. Very serious stories. Oh, my gosh. Let me switch over. Actually, you know what? No. I can't do this yet. Let me see here. Hold on. That's kind of cool. It's like another dimension. Here we go. Hold on, guys. Do. I'm way distracted. If I wasn't, I would need to be like really focused in order to not just do that for the rest of the show. Because that is fun. It looks pretty cool, man. I had fun with that. So, okay. Here's the thing, though. I have something for you. And I think it's actually like 7 minutes. But it's a lot of fun, though. Okay? It's a whole bunch of fun. And actually, let me go ahead and see if I could dump it into this one. Because I had it set up in the other one. So let me see here. I'm going to see if I can download. There's a new episode of Paleo Cheese. And it's like, it's a long one. Okay, we haven't been doing, 45 minutes, not like that, 50 minutes. So, but I
in this episode.
Go ahead. No.
But just stupid crap like that. That's kind of like ghetto gourmet.
Whoa. I am so sorry about that. I am so sorry about that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off for a moment. I apologize. That is very unprofessional of me. And it was like super, super loud too. It was like super, super, super loud. Oh man. Okay. So anyway, we're gonna play this. We're gonna play these clips from the show. And it's about 7 minutes long. But I wanted to have it in this frame so that if I wanted to stop and talk about it, I can't. Because I can't pause that. Oh well. So here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have a good time. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you a number of clips, and I may actually just say something as it goes, say something verbally. But right here, I want to show some clips of this. Take a break for a moment, get the rest of the show, some stuff put together before we move forward. Again, remember, you can learn more about the show, paleocratdiaries.com. You can see all the different posts that we do, which are not very many. Okay, you can subscribe to us, which you will then only get the not very many posts that we post. So we're not spamming the daylights out of you. We're not sending you a bunch of ridiculous stuff all the time. Okay, so make sure it's not even an issue with that. And then on top of that, you can also, of course, become a member. You can do that at paleocratdiaries.com/members. You can also donate via PayPal. The PayPal, I believe, should be in the comment section. Wherever you are, scroll to that part of the comment section and find the PayPal, paypal.me/Paleocrat. And so there's all that stuff. You can find out more. And you can even learn more about Paleo Cheese Podcast, because that's the podcast that I do. It's normally once a week, or one new episode, oftentimes divided into 2 parts, shared on Sunday and Wednesday nights. And so this one was fun, and I just got to give this as a warning, is that the episode we recorded way ahead of time. All right, so we're like way ahead. We're going to start doing live actually this Friday. So we're going to have a live show this Friday, engaging with comments and stuff like that. We're going to have a really good time. You can find that at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/paleocheese. But we recorded this episode like way, I don't know, right? It was before Thanksgiving, because we ended up talking about Thanksgiving dinner and the do's and don'ts, and we can apply it to any holiday, right? because a lot of the foods that we mention are in fact foods that are made not only during Thanksgiving but also Christmas, and also Easter dinner and stuff like that. So I mean, there's like many holidays that will involve these foods, and no matter what, debating whether or not you should have certain foods and whether or not certain foods are like gross, it was a good time. So we had a really good time. We talked about that and other things. So these are a bunch of different clips, right? Not all having to do with food. These are all different clips, though, some of my favorite parts. And I wanted to play that for you today. And we'll be back in 7 minutes, beginning with this story here. Beer-holding bloke clears snow on his driveway with a flamethrower. And so we're going to talk about that. Don't go anywhere. You're going to really enjoy this, I hope. And here we go. So here are clips from the most recent edition of Paleo Cheese.
Just stupid crap like that. That's like
in this episode.
But just stupid crap like that. That's like kind of like ghetto gourmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You grab different things. Like when you're eating sausage and pancakes and you're eating your sausage and it's got syrup on it. It's like an accidental. It's like discovering penicillin all over again.
Welcome. You're listening to Paleo Cheese Podcast, episode 26, part 1, the worst Thanksgiving food debate.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Chad Lutsky.
And I'm Jeremiah Bannister.
And dude, today we're doing another, just you and I hanging out, shooting from the hip. Is I saying that right? Shooting from the hip. Does that make any sense?
You is saying that right, Chad.
Yeah, I is. I
is I saying it right? Yeah,
right.
You is, dude. You is. Yeah.
I was hoping nobody would catch that. But okay.
Yeah.
Just don't rewind it and play it on loop.
Yeah.
I am a little bit afraid that, we teased him. And when I say we, I mean the final guys and then me in the chat room. I like to pretend I am the fifth final guy that just shows up and sits in the corner and types away and tries to include myself in all of their shenanigans.
Yeah.
But Tim has really poor taste in movies. So, and he's younger than I think any of the final guys. I think I'm old enough to be Tim's dad, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's like 36 or something like that.
You'd be pretty young, dude.
I'd be young. He might be 34.
Cranking it out at like what, 9 years old, 10 years old?
Yeah. But he,
Daddy Lutsky.
Notoriously bad taste in movies. I can't figure him out. He'll like a really good movie and then he'll not like. Dude, here's an example right now, and I may have brought this up. Tim's not a fan of the Blair Witch Project, but he loves Blair Witch 2.
No,
So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like somebody not liking The Shining but liking the second version.
That's Tim.
What?
he doesn't like Kubrick's Shining, but he loves the piece of crap, steaming hot pile of garbage Mick Garris TV miniseries.
It's like, dude, I could have asked him questions for hours, man. It was really cool.
I could have talked more on cooking and taken some notes and stuff.
Oh yeah,
talking about Blaine Cook.
Yeah, I actually saw it in my feed recently. I saw it was one of the suggested videos or something like that. It was either suggested video or I saw it. I forget where it was, but I saw it and I'm like, there he is. I'm like, dude, look at him, man. He's cooking. He's in his kitchen, dude, rocking it out. Yeah, actually, good camera quality, actually. Because I didn't know because. I don't think he was using his special camera for the show. I don't know what he was using. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We weren't worthy of that.
Yeah, I think he broke out his iPad for the show.
Yeah,
but he had a great.
You got to use a potato for that one.
Yeah, he just set up a potato and waved a magic wand and it started recording.
And this is no lie, dude. I make this thing. My kids are older now, so they don't fall for this kind of thing. But I do this thing called a BBB, and it's a bread ball. With bacon bits. And all it is, dude, is you just rip the crust off and you palm the bread and you fill it with bacon bits and you mash the crap out of the bread. So you've got this tight roll with bacon bits inside. And you just take little bites like an apple, like a little apple, and then or you can throw some cheese in there or something. But just stupid crap like that. That's like kind of like ghetto gourmet.
Yeah.
Where you just, you grab different things, and I said that to say this. With the turkey, if you spread some of that relish on a slice of turkey breast and take a bite, I don't know that would be that bad. It's kind of like it's kind of like the potato chips at a picnic when there's a pickle on your plate and the pickle juice hits those chips and you're eating them and you've got a whole different kind of flavor. Or like when you're eating sausage and pancakes and you're eating your sausage and it's got syrup on it. It's like it's like discovering penicillin all over again.
Yeah. They're like ketchup on chicken.
Yeah. I mean, ketchup can go on a lot of things.
Yeah, ketchup, dude. People don't like it. Or how about this one, dude? How about this one? Fries and a Frosty.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Yes. Fries and Wendy's Frosties, dude. I am like hooked on it.
The only thing you don't want to do is depend on the Frosty for when you get that lump of fries in your throat, when you've been eating a bunch of fries and you need like water or pop or something like that. You don't want to rely on the
You're like adding to the joke. To me, that's almost like having, some kind of thing from Dairy Queen. Some people are like, I love to go to Dairy Queen. I'm like, give me the stuffing pop. That's what I want. I want the stuffing ice cream cone. Just give me an ice cream cone, fill it with stuffing, and I will eat it because I could eat it all the time, dude. It's
sugar cone or regular cone for the stuffing.
Yeah. Oh, for the stuffing, waffle cone, bro. Waffle cone stuff.
Those are my favorite cones, but I don't know.
No.
If you're gonna have stuffing in an ice cream cone, I don't know if I would want to sweeten it with the.
That's true. That's true. You need the bland one.
Yeah.
The ones that come out and they're always brittle and crappy.
Yeah.
And they come out of like the same kind of containers in the same way the Dixie cups do.
But the best part of the cone is the bottom when it finally gets soggy and you get down there and
you eat soggy or wet stuffing in a soggy cone. Oh, dude, yeah, I am down. We got to do it now. Dude. We have to have at least a picture, just a picture of it. And you know what? I think you're actually blowing a lot of people's minds right now because as far as they've ever known, and they could even imagine that the powdered cheese is in fact the most authentic way to make it. And Velveeta, dude, Velveeta is maybe, and I'm a cheese guy, dude. I am always gobbing down cheese all the time. But the thing is Velveeta by far my favorite ever.
Do you know what comes in easy second? Government cheese. Dude, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
That stuff is good.
Yeah. All righty. That right there, those are clips from the most recent episode. Okay. In fact, the part 1 of a 2-part episode that will be the last, for a while anyway, of the pre-recorded shows. Okay, because we've always pre-recorded them. We've never done a live show, so I'm working on it right now. There's some things I gotta do to figure it out. Okay, got to figure out things to do with latency for the microphone, OBS. Getting all of this stuff put together so that we got the intro and everything. It's gonna be a whole bunch of fun, and that's gonna be airing on Friday. I think it's at 8:00 at night on Friday. I think is when we're gonna do it. And so it's just going to be the two of us. We're just going to have a really good time. Kind of a year in review. We're going to talk about some of our favorite movies as well as some of the highlights and the worst movies that we saw. And we talked also last night, we talked about putting together the reaction videos because I have a whole bunch of these reaction videos that I did where the idea was, Jeremiah, you got to go and you got to turn off all the lights because I'm a scaredy cat, man. And he's like, turn off all the lights by yourself. Watch these scary movies and record your face and record your reactions to it. And so I did. But I've never put together a reaction video where you're using video clips from movies, and that's risky business. It's risky business to do that. And so I'm kind of nervous about it, but we have to do some of these reviews. And he actually told me I got to do a review where apparently it's mainly just for one scene. And that's all he wants. He's like, you got to watch the whole movie. But really, and he don't want to say anything else. He didn't want to say anything else. And he said, but it's for one scene. And I'm like, well, I know. And he goes, oh, yeah, you'll know. I'm like, okay. I guess that we're going to go ahead and do that. So make sure, of course, you can check that out. It's a whole bunch of fun. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go over. It's a really cool show. It's not as family friendly. There's some of the interviews when it's just the two of us. You know, we're not out there swearing or saying anything like that. But sometimes, you know, the guests come on and it's a little bit more like the Joe Rogan experience a little bit. And so it's a little edgy. And sometimes the guests, you know, they're not as family friendly as oh boy here. And so that is a little bit of a bummer. But anyway, all right. So like I said, we're going to go to the news. And I have to tell the people upstairs, I have to tell them, get off the computer. I can see right now that the MacBook Pro is open and it's connected with my computer, right? And so when it's on, it pops up at the bottom and it drags on the stream. So turn that bugger off, Home Slice. I know. You know, I don't know what they're doing on that anyway. Turn it off. Get it off. Can't be on right now. Don't do that, buddy. So, all right, like I said, we're going to talk about this story right here, and then we're going to go to the comments, because I'm seeing there's a whole bunch of really great ones, by the way, including Susanna, who says, I think I want a BBB. Yes, I think so, too. It made me hungry. I was almost going to say, yo, woman, go make me a sandwich right now in the air cooker, you know. Go make one of those BBBs in the air cooker. Oh, man. What is it? Not air cooker. I'm so sorry. Air fryer. The air fryer. I'm going to be saying air cooker forever. And people are going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, okay. All right. Beer-holding bloke clears snow on his driveway with a flamethrower in epic footage. Timothy Browning enjoyed a beer and a cigar as he melted the thick snow with his flamethrower while his wife videoed the moment and joked that he was available for hire. And look at this guy. First of all, let's zoom in a little bit on this. Let's zoom in. There we go. So, okay. Can we play this video? Please tell me we can. Please tell me we can. Because sometimes if it already played, sometimes it doesn't want to play. You know, you got to kind of scroll around and hope that it pops up a little bit. You got to wait for the sound. But basically, you can see it right now. It's pretty dope. Oh, here it goes. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. Real quick. Ailey, upstairs, staff, you guys, not now. Don't get on that laptop you just got off. It's good. Get off that laptop. You know, but we need to look up flamethrower stat. Maybe they sell it at Sears. You know, they might sell the flamethrower in the same section as the shovels. You know, so if you go and you look Sears or Pennies or whatever, go and look that up and see if they got a flamethrower in that same department. Oh, maybe over at Menards. Menards has a bunch of cool stuff, man. It's probably at Menards. It's probably there. That'd probably take care of our leaf problem. It'd probably take care of the leaves. You just sit there and you're like, you know this guy. You know what he's doing. And he's dressed for success. He's dressed for success. He knows what he's doing. He's out there. He's got that, you know, he's kind of dressed like the foil dad, right? On Ren and Stimpy. That they almost always show like below his waist. He's wearing those, you know, the short bathrobe and everything. He's got the socks with the little things that hold him up, you know, the little stirrups or whatever to hold him up. And he's got some slipskis on, some slipsky whipskis. He's got some of those on his feet. And he's got a pipe, but it never really shows his face. I can imagine this guy right here, that's pretty much what he is. You know what I'm saying? But have any of you ever done that, by the way, with a flamethrower? Do any of you own a flamethrower? Do you own one? And if you do, how are we not really close friends? I would love to, man, I'd love to just use a flamethrower one day. So we're going to watch a little bit more. Look at this guy. He just throws the beer and he's like, I'm done. Yeah. It looks like a good time, though. It looks like a good time. So yeah, that's a good idea, by the way. That's a good idea. Socially distanced Santa. Come on. Over at UPI, socially distanced Santa, surfing Santa. Oh, I'm so sorry. Takes to the waves in Florida. You know, being socially distanced is kind of most of the time what you're doing when you're surfing. I mean, I don't know many people that are like surfing within 6 feet of each other. To be quite honest with you, unless they're doing some choreography stuff, some stunt stuff. I mean, I don't know. I mean, isn't that etiquette? Can you imagine? I mean, if you get that close to another surfer, they'd probably be ticked off. So that doesn't seem very fancy. Oh, but it's News 6. Okay, if I play that, I can get in trouble. But we can see that. So yeah, okay. The 11th annual Surfing Santa event in Florida went ahead Thursday with a smaller than usual number of St. Nick's taking to the waves while observing COVID-19 safety protocols. Okay, the organizers of this event in Cocoa Beach earlier announced it would be live streamed virtually this year due to the pandemic, and surfers in Santa suits were encouraged to hit the waves individually while practicing social distancing. It doesn't look like he's wearing a mask, though. I was going to say, if he's wearing a mask while surfing, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Although I have seen it before. I've seen it before where, like, you're in a Zoom meeting. I've been in one. I've been in a Zoom meeting having a conversation, and there's a dude looking at the screen wearing a mask, and he's talking to us with his mask on. And then when he's like, okay, we're going to take a break for a moment, and he doesn't turn off the camera, but he takes off his mask, and he starts talking to the other people in the room right across the table. And then once he comes back to the screen, so he's over here talking like this, he's doing this thing and looking around, and then he puts his mask back on and looks at the camera again. I'm like, what's wrong with you, weirdo? You're a nice guy, right? You're a nice guy. I don't want to dog him. You're this person. I'm not going to say his name. He's kind of a boss. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not bossing it up with this. Pretty silly. Okay. Are you here to pick up the mystery machine? What? Don't be absurd. I drive the whale. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you've got, where is this place, by the way? What is this? We buy cars. South something. I don't know. I don't know where this is, man. It's obviously a wonderland of awesome because people around that area are driving a mystery machine. And I've always kind of wanted something like that. I don't know if I'd want an actual mystery machine or something that's just painted kind of crazy, like it's like the Paleomobile or something like that on the side, and maybe like an ice cream truck. Like instead of the van like that, I'd rather have the ice cream truck from the Smashing Pumpkins video for today. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying about that, right? I mean, the one that they paint and everything. I wouldn't want to paint it all crazy. I'd want to make it look pretty dope. I almost bought an ice cream truck one time. I almost did. This dude up the road, it was like a mile from my house. This guy up the road, he was selling an ice cream truck. That bugger was like black and it had like this kind of skull on the side, like the Punisher. I was like, that was a Mad Max junk, dude. But if you had to pick, and you're sitting there saying, well, you're going to own the mystery machine or you're going to own the whale over there. The whale on wheels, man. Which one would you do? That's a tough call, man. I mean, the mystery machine's got that vintage pull, right? It's got that nostalgic thing. But the creativity and the genius behind the whale, I'd probably drive it. I don't know how frequently I would drive it. You'd buy it, man, and it's not even really like an automobile, but it's one that's it's powered by pedaling and it's a unicycle. I'd be like, dude, now. No wonder it was so cheap. Oh, dude, no way. I ain't doing that. All right, people are sharing the worst Christmas gifts they've gotten, including a dead hamster. Well, that is gross. Okay, why? Who did that, by the way? And there's no way that it was intentional, right? Where they probably put a hamster in a box, and they weren't really thinking about it, which is a terrible thing. I've experienced something like that. It was a dead hamster, and it had to do with, and it was one that we really cared about and loved, but we weren't thinking about the effect of air conditioning and how that can actually affect them, and how they need to stay in, be warmer than freezing cold. And that was not good, guys. It was a really, really terrible day of my life. In fact, it was as bad as the day that I ran over a baby raccoon, and that was super sad. Like I run over different animals, and I said this before on Paleo Cheese, and you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to tell the story, other than to say it's super tragic. It's super tragic, man. And I've had experiences: a dog, a deer, a raccoon, an owl, where it hit the window. No, I didn't find it. I tried to find it, didn't find it. That bugger hit the window, and yeah, the baby raccoon and the turtle. And a little turtle. And in each and every instance, you know, there's like they're in the road and you're trying to get around it, you know, or you're trying to get away from there. But I've got a clip that was so bad because it was on Paleo Cheese and we had this guest on and we're talking to him and he'd lost his pet turtle. His pet turtle died. And, you know, I'm kind of an awkward guy. And sometimes I'm not entirely understanding the nature of a social setting and I might say something. Like on the last show, I talked about, you know, the prank that I did in class that resulted in me having to run to the bathroom kind of thing. And people are begging me, please don't. Don't talk about this. Why are you doing this to yourself? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing a show. But, you know, but I was doing this and my buddy, the co-host of the show, Chad, he was like, Jeremiah, that was, you know, it was bad timing maybe. The guy didn't seem upset by it, you know, or anything like that. And he's a really cool guy and he had a really good time. We had a great time with him. And so, you know, it was nothing like that. Sent me a friend request after the fact. So, I mean, I don't think he was judging me about it or anything. But we thankfully it wasn't in the actual show. It was in the in-between portion of part 1 and part 2. But I saved it. I saved it and I said it'll never see the light of day with Paleo Cheese. But I may have to show it here. So I won't tell any of that story. All right. So by the way, what do you guys, what is the worst Christmas present that any of you have ever had? What's the worst Christmas present? I think the worst one that I've ever gotten, if I'm honest about it, is it wasn't, you know, it was an ornament. And I still hang it on the tree. It's a Barbie doll. It's not a full-length Barbie. I mean, that'd be... Yeah, people are like, wow, so you have a Barbie doll on your Christmas tree. I'm like, no. It's a small one. And other ones, you know, that are playful from my dad, stuff like that. You know, or this year I got a book. What is it? Oh, hold on a second. I might actually have it in my bag. I might have it in my bag. Maybe not. Let me see. Is it Reflections of a... Here we go. Yeah. Right here. So, yeah, because I got this one, too. I better just get this one out. I got the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. But look at the size. This is my fault, though. I thought I got it from, like, Penguin Books or something. And it was going to be one of those regular size things. It's like a booklet. It's like a booklet size one. And it's okay. But I'm kind of like... Bleh. But no, this right here. And this is self-imposed. This is something that's my fault, right? Now, I got this. And I wanted this book. This book is Reflections of a Russian Statesman by Konstantin Petrovich Pobyedonovstev. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I'll let you guys see it, man. Let's see here. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so that's his last name. This is by, First Rate Publishers. I'll let you decide. About First Rate Publishers because, dun, 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 that's the font. That's the font, dude. That's the size of the type, man. I'm like, dude, this should come with, you know, a magnifying glass, some kind of a monocle or something. Maybe they're just assuming that everybody that buys this book is wearing monocles. I don't know. But it's messed up, dude. It's messed up. By the way, I need some water from the staff. Staff can bring down some water. That's one of the things that I forgot. If you want to put some of that cream of tartar in it, that's fine. You can't really taste it. Can't really taste it. But what's the worst gift, man? What is the worst gift that you got? Okay, let's see here. What's the worst gift that you got? Yeah, I want to see it in the comment section. We'll talk about it. And make sure to begin with saying the worst gift that I ever received for Christmas was, okay, and we'll see if it adds up to anything like this. Okay, let's see here. My mom gave me a box one Christmas, and before opening it, I shook it. Inside was a dead hamster. A different person claimed their granddad gifted them a broken mirror. Really? A shattered mirror for Christmas. And said, at least the mirror won't give you bad luck. Okay. Let's see here. Then you're wrong. My dad actually gave me actual poop. Why? Why? Human poop? Because he thought it was funny. I don't believe you. I don't believe that, by the way. No way. Not without some kind of evidence and, an admission from the dad. And if the admission from the dad and the evidence is shared on TikTok, then I won't believe you because I know you are TikToking it up for Christmas. And we don't do that. We don't play that game, man. Let's see. Oh, wow. This comes after a man went viral on, how did I know? Went viral on TikTok. Of course he did. For sharing a video of him opening the foul present he was given by his godmother. The young man opened a red and white gift bag to find a candle inside. The label on the candle said, PS5 candle. Smells like you're not getting one. What? Yeah, it's been viewed over 1 million times. Yeah. So I don't believe it. So honestly, what is the worst? Oh, thank you very much, sweetheart.
And now there's no small straws. Well, skinny ones.
There's no skinny straws. Ugh. You need to send the midget on the magic carpet.
What?
Yeah, send the midget on the magic carpet. That's what we're paying him for.
Who's the midget, though? Ambrose?
Ambrose. I'm not talking about a real midget. We don't hire real midgets. We don't have the money for that, man. We don't have the money for that. And just so people know, newcomers are like, dude, did you really say you got a midget on a magic carpet? And they're all concerned about the midget. They're not even thinking about the fact that I've got a magic carpet. Oh, they're missing it, man. They're missing it, guys. Ambrose is my son. He's my son. All right, man. We need those straws, though. We need those straws. Okay. Daddy, I ate all the Christmas fruit. Christmas fruit? What? The Christmas fruit from the tree. Oh, no. Can it get bigger than that? No. Okay, it's glass. I am so sorry. Hold on. We got to do this. Doink. Dude, that's bad. That'd be wicked bad, man. I don't know, Oh, man. Just the thought of that, by the way. The glass and, the shards. See, 120-year-old chocolate found in Australian poet's papers. What? Okay, they were going through the recently acquired papers of the Australian poet when they stumbled on the souvenir tin filled with chocolate. The chocolate still was in its straw packaging and silver foil wrapping. Can you eat that? Could you eat that, or are you going to be like real sick? Like there's that one guy that does some pretty crazy stuff. He's always eating and drinking lots and lots and lots of food. Like, what do you have, a 5-pound bag of those sugar-free gummy bears? I mean, that's dangerous, by the way. Don't ever do that. That's a really stupid idea, right? But that's kind of, what the guy does, I guess, for his life. But he drank one of those, what was it, crystal clear Pepsis? And it was one of the old ones, like a bottle or a can from back in the day. A bottle or a can from back in the day. There's a weird coffee mug here. Okay. I'm pouring some coffee. So the thing is, yeah, I guess that is it. So, but he puked his brains out. It did not sit well with him, and it wasn't very old. But what about the chocolate? What about the chocolate? I don't know. Would you eat it? Would you try it? I've seen a lady, man. She has a burger, a McDonald's burger that's like, what, over 10 years old, 15 years old, something like that? It's in pretty good shape. Okay, what's this? Oh, Tom Wood. Okay, oh yeah, Tom Wood. Okay. It's nice to see you again, Tom. I wondered what was going on with you. In fact, we wondered if you were still writing. I'm glad to see that you're not being, so lazy anymore. And you're actually providing us material, Tom. We rely on you, buddy. You and Sonia Jane. Sonia Jane, she's let us down, dude. She's let us down big time. The couple learned they've been saying their son's name wrong for years. How is that even possible? I guess it is a little bit. Like we were saying, and we still do. Our son, Athen, his name is Isaac Athanasius. But if you want to say it properly, in Greek, it's like Athanasius. All right, the emphasis is on different parts of the word. Kind of like I said before with the Canadian people where they say peanut butter instead of peanut butter. So they emphasize the butter. And I'm like, stop doing that. It's probably the way that the Greeks feel about the way that we say Athanasius. I don't know, you know, but what's the guy's name? What's the guy's name here? Let's see here. Wait, what's his name? Liam? When their son Liam, let's see. Has a 4-year-old son of his own called, how would you pronounce that? Would it be Ison? What would you say? Oshin? Instead of pronouncing it Oshin. Oh, I should know that. Like Aishlin. I know. Okay, look, I'm getting it. It's clicking. Okay, I got you. I've never seen this before. And people are like, all of a sudden, Ison, what? You're struggling, boy. I know I am. They've been saying Oison. Oh, look, okay, well, we're, American and stuff. Much like the popular Chinese sauce. Oh, I got you. Oh, man. Okay, so the name would actually be Ocean. Okay, yeah, I get that. All right, here, last couple of articles, then we're moving on to some serious stuff. So you may as well get your coffee ready right now. Oh, no, I don't have a straw. Oh, no. Man, the staff's got to make me more coffee stat. You got to make me more coffee right now. And not only do you got to get coffee, man, you got to give me the straw. I can't, how am I going to say straight to the dome? Glug, glug, glug. Ain't going to happen, dude. No. No way. What the heck is this? Andres Soriano? Something ain't looking right about Andre. Oh, boy. Oh, no, dude, what's Kevin Sorbo? Oh, no. And at Turning Point USA. By the way, guys, is Turning Point USA just like, a haven of perverts? Like, what the heck is wrong with them? By the way, they're like, oh, this is conservatism. This is the way it goes. And you sit there and they're shooting out money out of this thing. Do. And it's shooting out money and everybody's scrambling for money. And it's got a bunch of these sexy ladies, scantily clad. Oh, they should be ashamed of themselves, man. And they are grifters par excellence, dude. Money Down says any turn and twist, they know how to ride that establishment wave. It's what they got. It's how they roll, man. It's how they roll. But I'm seeing increasingly, just stuff that is just embarrassing. I mean, I don't mean to be terribly rude to Andre, but that's embarrassing. That outfit and purse. I mean, what the heck is going on with that? And Kevin Sorbo, he's a conservative guy, Christian guy. Although, he landed himself in a weird spot, I think, when he was on Pool Boy 2. What was it called? Pool Boy 2? Oh, man. It wasn't Unleash the Fury. Where was it? I don't know. But it was, it's hilarious, but it's also very crude. It's one of those very crude movies. I still want to interview the director. Right? The director, I watched him in his podcast, The Drunken Guys or whatever. I watched them on election night. They're a whole bunch of fun. But this right here, dude, it ain't right. I mean, if TPUSA was like, look, we want to have you come and speak, I would actually ask, are you going to have raging perverts on the stage? I don't know. You can have people like that. It's one thing, to say, I respect your right to do that. If or your yeah, it's kind of weird to use words like right. I'm using it colloquially. I'm misusing the word, right? Because we don't really have necessarily a right to do those things which ought not to be done. Okay, those things that are against the divine law, against natural law, it's not technically a right. But they have permission socially in our society to, look like that. But I would say, look, I'd rather not be around it. No, okay. Apparently, neither does Kevin Sorbo. Apparently, Kevin Sorbo, he doesn't want to be around it either. Look at his face. He's like, goodness gracious alive, what did I get myself into? Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. What's this? People are saying another Simpsons prediction has come true with a glass dome. Oh no. Dude, the algorithm is going to hate me today. They're going to be like, oh, what? What? You're talking about a dome? What? Yeah. You're talking about, a firmament? Cool your jets. It's Amelia Ward. It's not me. I'm just saying what Amelia Ward is saying. What are you going to do? You gonna go after Lad Bible? Is that really what's going to happen? YouTube? You're going to say your Lad Bible is now in the crosshairs. They're done. Okay, so people are joking that The Simpsons predicted another massive event with fans likening new tier restrictions. And the tier restrictions. That's what it is. Woo! For a second, I was thinking it had something to do with, pancake Earth. It's true, man. Oh. I'm so nervous about sharing anything like that. Because I follow people that, they share videos like that about, pancake planet, you know what I'm saying? And I'm really nervous to share anything like that. Even the stuff that is just glaringly obvious, like, having somebody in the space station holding something and it fumbles out of their hands and drops straight down and they have to hurry up real quick and grab it. Or they're up in the space station talking to everybody and twisting this kind of knob on a door and it goes, and it falls down, this thing that they're trying to undo, and it falls and clanks on the ground and the person looks around and is reaching down on the ground. I'm like, dang son, that's a little bit of, gravity. What is that crap? You tell me. I'm not making any, I'm just saying that's weird. That's weird. And so that's what I thought this was about. But apparently they're like, oh no, this is actually about, the Karunkadunko. It's about the Karunkadunko that's been going around. Okay, I got you. Let's see. Can't wait for Boris to stick the UK in that dome after something Monday on Saturday. Why are they even sharing this, by the way? We're going to be placing the dome from The Simpsons next week. This is all a scam. This is all. I'm not even going to show that anymore. All right. What's this? Okay, this looks like a more serious one. Better go back to circle. What is considered trashy if you're poor, but classy if you're rich? By the way, what would you say? And do you agree with this? That day drinking is considered classy if you're rich, but trashy if you're poor. Speaking 2 languages is classy if you're rich and trashy if you're poor. How about hard drugs? How about that? How about tax avoidance? That's, look, it's actually, those are actually kind of legit. I'm not going to lie. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, man. I would agree with that. I would say that's actually, pretty true, in fact. Okay. What is this? Okay, we were down to the last 2 things before the seriousness erupts on the show. So you got to make sure, again, get that coffee. And I hope that the staff right now is getting me some coffee because, man, Bugger Boy here is almost out. Almost out, man. Unbelievable. Let's see here. What's this? Okay. Okay. She's going, oh, what? Who did that? Why are you showing me that? Why are you showing me this? One more time. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't mean to laugh at the demise of other people, but sometimes things are just, hilarious. So here we go. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, what's this? How do I turn off the disappointment of looking at the pretty clothing thing that invariably ends up with a size cutoff well before my size? Well, there are actually a couple ways of fixing the situation, okay? And this is a serious thing, okay? Is that one of those is if you weren't so obese, that might be an easier thing for you to do. Like I cannot go, for example, I'm not meaning to be rude. I'm using that term very appropriately here to say, I like walking in the malls and stuff. I still support those buggers. I'm sad to see them go and everyone to be like, you can just get it on Amazon. I'm like, no thanks. No thanks. I'd rather go and, walk through a mall and stuff. I'd rather do that and support all those businesses and stuff like that. I'm for decentralization, man. I don't like centralization of the economy. I hate that crap. And it's nothing against rich people, right? It's nothing against them. I'm not saying like, you shouldn't be allowed to be a billionaire. I'm not saying that, I'm saying that I like it if more people have more businesses, right? That they are owners of capital. The more owners of capital, the better. Okay. And it, so that's what I would say. But I like going in there. I like seeing different clothing and stuff. But I know that if I go past, I don't even know if the Buckle's still around. It's been a long time. Or the Gap. Or Abercrombie. I walk past Abercrombie. I know that there is a physique deep within me, deep within my frame that can fit into those outfits. If I did the right thing, if I was disciplined. And look, I'm not meaning to get serious about this, but the truth is, it's a serious thing. You can't wave a magic wand and say, well, the pretty clothing thing, that you can just make it bigger and it's going to look the same. That's just not true. And everybody knows there's a cutoff. If you make it the size, we know that, for example, from underwear. You can see pictures of people's underwear. And I'm not saying go around and look at underwear. And everybody's got to, hopefully you're wearing it. But the thing is, hopefully, I know some folks, I won't say anything more than that. But the thing is that you can see, and it's a joke. You see it in movies where they show little nice undies, where everything is laid out very nicely. And then they show this massive draping sheet-sized pair of underwear. I'm sorry to tell you, and if you want it to be as pretty, do it relative to scale and size, and it would just look like a very big one. Kind of like, some people make pancakes regular size, and then they make pancakes that are really big, and then but then if they put a big stick of butter on, they're gonna have to have the butter looking like, relative to size and scale. And so if you want to do that, you're also going to be paying out the nose hole. You're going to be paying out the nose hole. So, it would be better. It'd be better if we started really taking seriously the idea that our body is a temple, and that it is one of the things that we aren't, a ghost in the machine alone, but we are a machine, and that we have a soul, and that soul is animated and doing things through us, that we are an animated soul, that our bodies give evidence to the existence of this, and that our bodies should be treated, as appropriate and fitting as they are for us, as they are uniquely made for us. And so, it's one of those things. And actually, I've been doing it, even having accountability buddy, right? My wife, and there's another person that's joined. And we talked about it yesterday, where we said, look, we have to just write it down to start saying what we're doing. And here are the rules. If you want to join this group, right? This idea that says, I want to lose weight, man. I want to lose weight. I'm tired of being a fat slob. I'm tired of being lazy. I'm tired of being unhealthy, and I want to do better. I want to do better in my life. If you want to do that, join up with us. And for me, now it's not a rule. Nobody has to do what I'm doing. Nobody has to. But what I'm doing is simple. What I'm doing is really simple. I am doing keto. Now, eventually I'll be doing carnivore, because I actually like carnivore better, if for no other reason. Then, I kind of like the simplicity of it. I know that's maybe a dude thing to say, right? Like, they're like, well, you don't get all the vegetables and the other things with carnivore. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You keep it simple. You keep it simple for me. You're like, oh, meat and cheese and eggs. Oh, I got you. Animal stuff. I got you. I don't have to worry about, vegetables. I don't have to worry about those. But right now, ketosis. So under 20 to 25 net carbs. Okay, so you're taking your carb count and then subtracting the fiber. So you're saying, and I know some people say, don't do it that way. Do it full count. Don't do the net count. Do the net count, especially if you're just starting. Just do it, right? And I'm doing clean keto. I'm not mixing it up with a bunch of crazy chemicals and artificial flavorings and stuff like that. I'm trying to avoid as much of that as possible. Okay, so, but eating healthy, trying not to eat after 6 p.m., knowing it's going to be tough, knowing it's going to be hard, and I'm going to want to eat, and I'm going to have to begin to tell myself no, and if I make a mistake and I end up doing it, then I say, I need to make sure that I figure out what resulted in me even navigating my way to the fridge late at night, and what can I do to stop that? Not only that, but to exercise, okay, to exercise a minimum of 3 high-intensity interval training exercises a week. Something, anything, whatever is good for you. If you can't do those types of things, if you can't do HIIT programs, then do something different. But no matter what, get your heart pumping. And get it pumping good and hard to where you're like out of breath. Okay? So you do those 2 things, and those 2 things alone. Now, I've added other stuff to it. I do Wim Hof every day. cold showers. I do that. So I do other things, and I'm going to be incorporating. In fact, I've been strongly implored by people who care about me to stop vaping. So I'm going to, that's been part of what I was doing it for, vaping, because I was smoking cigars, and that's hard. I mean, it's like heroin to me. And so I'm just like smoking cigars like crazy. So then to get on the vaping thing, and I don't mix it up with weird chemicals and stuff, but and I definitely am not vaping the THC and CBD stuff that was causing major problems, or the chemicals that result in popcorn lung or anything like that. My gums, in fact, my dentist is like, look, your gums look fantastic. I mean, there's no issues going on with that, your mouth and everything. He's not telling me it's good, keep doing it. He's just saying that compared to when I was smoking cigarettes, I mean, give me a break. It's not even close. And I don't have that smoker's cough. I used to have that all the time. And so, but no matter what, I don't want it to be a landing pad that says that it's the end of it. And so I've got to put together a plan to say, look, I know it's going to be hard. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get frustrated. And I got to talk to my family about it and strategize. But you got to do it. You got to do it. And so the idea is eat better, drink a bunch of water. And even if you don't want to do keto, that's what I'm telling you what I'm doing. No matter what you're doing, eat better, please. Eat better, please. Okay? Drink more water. Stay away from, if you can, stay away from pop and slurm. If you can, right? And I know you can. Stay away from junk food. Stay away from that. I mean, even just eating better food and drinking more water, you're gonna find. You take pop out of your life, you're gonna find it's gonna be amazing. You will lose weight, right? It won't take long, especially if you're really heavy. I mean, that's just a fact. And on top of that, what? Bodybuilder who married sex doll says she's broken days before Christmas. I'm not even going to look at that, because that's, look, that's why I said you got to know that you're a both and. This guy treats his body like a temple, no doubt about it, but he's obviously got idols inside that temple. You don't want idols inside that temple. That would be the only way to make sense of the idea. That'd be the only way to make sense of the idea that he has a sex doll as a wife. That's the only way, man. That is the only way. So, all right, guys. All right, so here we go. We got to get, what? The staff didn't get me my coffee. You guys are killing me. Where's my coffee? Oh, come on. Oh, it's all gone. Well, I've got like the tiniest little bit. I did, however, take the cap off, so I got the straw. So it's like a shot of coffee. This is bad, guys. This is really, really, really bad. Okay, so we are going to go. Hold on. Here we go. And let's go over to, here we go. There we go. Oh. So here's the deal. You got to get that glass out. You got to get the cup. You got to get whatever it is that you're drinking. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's coffee. It doesn't matter if it's water. It doesn't matter if it's slurm. It doesn't matter if it's pop. It doesn't matter. Any of those things, you are dedicated. It's symbolic, right? It is. That's why some people are even okay, raising up hamburgers or corn on the cob, or caramel apple or candy apple. That's what they do, And so they raise it high no matter what it is, because we here at Paleocrat Diaries, we are resolving each and every day from the bottom of our hearts to give everything we've got every single moment of every single day. That we are going to give it everything we've got. Okay, so that all of our thoughts, all of our words, all of our actions that we do throughout the day are committed to this wild endeavor of making this place better than we found it, of taking a knee for Jesus Christ, and of resolving deep within our hearts to never give up, to keep on smiling, and to remember that we will die. To remember that no matter what we do, to remember that no matter what we do, no matter, we can have a body that is amazing. We could be eating all the healthy food in the world. We could be doing everything right, physically and spiritually and everything else. We could be doing it all right. And then walk outside and slip on some ice and hit the back of our head, and boy, oh boy, we're done. We're dead. You don't know. You don't know. The one lady, man. The one lady during what, the Omen? Where the plane comes out of the sky and ends up hitting the wife and kid, kills them or whatever in the car. Bunch of people die. Keith Green getting on a plane, couldn't get off the landing field, right? Him and his kid die. Buddy Holly. I mean, you can mention all these people. They go somewhere, bada boom, bada bing, they're dead. And how many people do you know that they end up getting sick? Something ends up happening. They're not able to overcome it, and they're dead. It's just an accident. It's just an accident that happens. And so you have to make sure that what you're doing today, it doesn't matter what job you got. You know, your husband, wife, are you single? Where do you work? Where do you go to school? It doesn't matter. Take any of that stuff. Take all of it and draw that in. Pull it in real deep. Hold on to it tight and say, right now, when I raise my glass high and I howl at that sun, when I do that, I'm appealing to heaven to give me the energy, to give me the power to put these things into practice each and every day, starting right now. Yes. So raise it high, guys. Yeah. You got to raise it high. You got to raise it as high as you can. Ow! Here we go. Yeah. Come on, son. Woo. Give it everything you got, baby. Give it everything you got. Resolve deep inside. Resolve deep inside. You are a child of the King. Nothing's gonna get you down. And there we go. And there we go. Oh man. I don't know why that happened, man. That timing was all off, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why. I'm almost half tempted to say I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I'm looking at. I'm saying, why is the volume off? Why is the volume off? What the heck's going on with that? I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. No matter what, just seeing those little dudes dancing, seeing all those people raising that glass high, pumps me up every single day. Pumps me up every single day. So here we go. Here we go. We got to get over to the news. Oh, hold on. Oh, and now it's playing. Okay, hold on. There we go. Man, you know what? I'm half tempted to play it again. Why was there no sound on that? Why was there no sound on that? I need to hear it, man. I need to hear that organ. Bum, 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 bum. I need to hear it, man. Pumps me up. Seeing the people, though. Seeing the wolf pack. Seeing everybody howling at the sun. I hope it helps you start your day amazing. I know it does. That's why you're tuned back in. And if you're tuned in right now, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. Okay? It's easy to do. It's right above. It's right on the screen. You just tap the little screen, or you just, wherever you are, go subscribe to it right now. Like it right now. And comment right now. Because as I have mentioned before, we show the comments. And I'm going to show the comments right now. I'm going to show the comments right now. People saying happy birthday to my brother. People saying happy birthday to him. Super excited about that. I'm very grateful that everyone is congratulating my brother. It's his birthday today. I think he turns, how old is he today, man? He's like, 30, what would it be, 39? Is that how old he is? Let's see. Mark Johnson, Jeremiah Bannister for governor 2020. I don't think so, bro. Never, dude. Never, Mark Johnson. That ain't happening, champ. There's some baggage there, buddy. There's some baggage. And you know, the truth is, I'm an art of war kind of guy. I like being the schemester in the background. You know, I like being the brains of the operation. I'd prefer to be that, get my hands dirty, you know, muck raking stuff. Finding garbage on people and not being the fall guy, because I think so many of these politicians, man, they're just fall guys, you know. And so, like, I don't want to be that. I want to be the dude behind the scene. I want to be the kingmaker. And so I would love to do that, by the way. And people have said, oh, you should run for office even locally and things like that. I just don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. Number one, I put myself out there in ways all the time that are controversial. So I don't know about that, man. I'm kind of like, that's pretty rough, man. But I don't think governor, man. No, and not by 2022. That's piping. Won't do it, buddy. But I thank you, though. I know you'd vote for me. And dozens of other people. There are dozens of other people would vote for me. Let's see. Sheree says pies belong baked in the oven, not an air fryer. But other than that, the air fryer is amazing. Can you bake pies in the air fryer? Can you do that? I don't know. I always thought sausage was meant for the skillet. But I'm kind of thinking it kind of has a skillet inside the air fryer, and it was really good. It was really good, man. John says, good morning, Wolfpack. Good morning to you, bro. Good morning to you. Super excited about that. Tropical Obsession. Oh, okay. Good. These are links I'm not going to click on right now, but I think that they're links that showing more about the situation with the bomber. Let's see here. Deepak says, hi from where you are. Dude, you're in Grand Rapids, bro? You're in Grand Rapids, dude? Are you in Michigan? Where are you, Deepak? Maya says, happy birthday, Isaac. Yes, man. Again, happy birthday. Same with Cherie. Same with Patricia Johnson. Very grateful. Yes. Very, very happy about all that. Isaac, my brother tells me he loves me, dude. I know you do, man. I know you do. Bethany says, of course, happy birthday to my brother, man. I'm happy about that. MZMO says, morning, everybody. Morning to you. In fact, it's not morning anymore. I mean, we're talking, at this point, we're talking some afternoon action. Oh, boy, man. A little late to the party. Yeah, people are late to the party. Julie says, happy birthday, Isaac. By the way, it's good to see you again, Julie. I start to recognize people, and I recognize this one, if for no other reason than Heising van der Waal is a very long last name. And, I don't know if it's a hyphenated thing or if that's one big name. I don't know, but so it stands out, stands out like crazy, like a three-legged ballerina. I mean, it's one of those things that you won't forget. You won't forget that. All righty. Let's see. CF says first grown-up Christmas is hard. Do you guys remember that, by the way? Your first grown-up Christmas where you receive grown-up presents for the first time. And you get really angry in your heart. Let's see. I do. I talked about it earlier. Mark says, man, this hits home right now, dealing with Leo and the results of this accident. Happy birthday, Isaac. Dude, I'll tell you, Mark. Dude, it's why, the first time I think you ever heard any of my shows, you heard one where I was talking about procrastination. And it was a Paleocrat Diary event. And it was a video pre-recorded. And I talked about the paralyzing effects of perfectionism and how that's resulted in a bunch of other things for me and how I'm trying to get over that. I've struggled with that for a long time. And, but you said it hit home because of things in your own life, and I've seen you, man, as you've excelled in so many ways, dude. So many ways, not only professionally, physically in your whole life, man. I'm just really proud. I'm really proud of you. Matthew says, God bless you. You're a good soul. Oh, I try, man. That's a Jesus thing, bro. I can't take credit for that. I can't take credit for that at all because, I look over my lifetime, dude, and I'm like, I've done a lot of naughty. I've done a lot of bad things, dude. I've done a lot of bad stuff. And I look at it and I say, well, when did I start doing really good things? Now, I did good things, even as an unbeliever. I did good things. As I said, the light shines on the just and the unjust, okay? You can look at people. It's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed reading Inferno by Dante, was the idea that he could see, even within people that didn't have, saving grace, the people who were in hell, that there were people who had done things that were noble or things that were valiant and things that were self-sacrificing, things that we on earth, we still consider as iconic in regards to love. That's the way it is. I can say that the show Little House on the Prairie is a really great thing done for history. I mean, not just history. I'm saying like the the quality that it brings to those who really care about that series and that show. But Michael Landon, I mean, I heard he wasn't necessarily the greatest guy. And you're like, okay, so you can be a scumbag. You can be a scumbag, and at the same time, you can do things that are powerful. And but I look back and I say a lot of the things that I've done throughout my life, I got to give thanks to God for it. I mean, you just do. And just even for that grace in life in general, that we do these good things, even regardless of how sinful we are. And so I want to just give God praise for that. Maya says, people say and think the craziest things. They do follow the whole line of where such theories lead, because if they did, they would see the fallacies of their thinking, nor do they see how their words can profoundly hurt people. It's totally true. It's totally true. And a lot of people might believe something really sincerely and just simply not know, like you're saying, that they don't know. If you were to say, well, let's go down the line and find out what's the consequence of that. What if you believe this? What's the result? Like what must you then believe, or what must then be possible, or what must then be real? What must then be the very nature of the case, given that idea of the world? Okay, and so if people don't think that through very often, they don't even know how. And most people, I mean, let's be honest. How many of us have sat down and said, okay, I believe this and this and this, and this or that, X, Y, Z, doesn't matter. I believe that. I'm going to sit down and really plot out, if that's true, where does that lead? How many people are that methodical? Which is why tradition is so powerful. It's true. There's a power to the democracy of the dead. There's that Edmund Burke style of conservatism that appreciates and understands that as part of reality. Let's see. CF says, Jesus answered, neither hath this man sinned nor his parents, but that the work of God should be made manifest in him. He said, I thought Protestants did the Bible stuff. I'll tell you, some Protestants actually told me that when I told them the story. Same thing. And some of them do. But that person, again, it was one of those not seeing past the end of the nose thing. And look, there are examples. There are examples. Look at Bathsheba's child with King David. Look at the look at Egypt with the plagues. So you've got there are instances in the Bible of that, but those are normally prophetic. Like, I mean, I'm talking like prophetic in a way that's quite profound. Like the prophet going to King David and saying the whole parable of the very rich person's taking all of the lambs and stuff, and that comes in and takes a bunch from somebody who has very little, and then says, "You did that, you did that." And we're talking about people involved with the canon of Scripture too, or I don't know, the angel of death, and you've got that accompanied by great signs and wonders, not just some honcho. Playing Monday night quarterback with prophecy. Not that. LARPing like crazy. KMO says the man with the flamethrower that his driveway is going to be a skating rink once the water freezes. Totally true, dude. It's totally true. Oh, I'm skipping over what you said there. Next person talking about the identity of the person that was wearing a mask during a Zoom meeting and then took it off when talking to the people in the same room and then put it back on and was talking to the people in Zoom. Okay, the worst gift is somebody wrote Elf on a Shelf. Elf on a Shelf is, how bad is that? What exactly? I guess I've never had an elf on a shelf. When the heck is that on crap? Walter Bishop said, is a new study on asymptomatic transmission not only proves, right, it doesn't happen. This is an opinion, okay, that the panic promoted by the political class was meant to control the population, in complete contradiction to the popular narrative used by Democrat politicians and governors across the United States. A new study of 10 million people in Wuhan, China, ground zero for it, showed that asymptomatic spread does not occur, nullifying all reasoning for business closure and lockdowns. Now, this is one of those things where, I need to read it I need to read the study, in fact. And not because I've read articles about it. In fact, I got an article lined up here. The problem is it's one of those things where, and let me just compare this to Alex Jones for a moment. And this is something Alex Jones will do. On the one hand, Alex Jones will say that mainstream media sources can never be trusted. It's nothing but fake news and propaganda. And then later he says, this is confirmed even by mainstream sources. And I'm like, and it'll be like, even mainstream sources. And he'll cite a whole bunch of them. And you're like, they may, in fact, not only have reported on it, but been the first ones. And if they're the first ones, why would we use a group that we deny? And so we compare this to China. Let me get back to that. Compare it to China. And you go, okay, so, we had a whole bunch of videos, by the way, that were shared by China. And when those videos were shared or leaked by China or by people in China, the other people just falling all over the place, falling dead. I mean, there are people walking around in suits outside waiting for the next person to fall over dead. We're not seeing that crap here, by the way. We're not seeing that crap here. But it was shared like crazy. It informed so many people's ideas of how this works. And so you say, well, was it likely that it was propaganda? I'm of the persuasion and the position that is propaganda for the Chinese, given their culture and their political economy, the structure of political economy that they have, that sort of thing is used, in fact, by them in order to have compliance, in order to limit the amount and the impact of free riders. And so if we see those videos, it'd be really easy to go, holy cow, this is really, really bad. Now, I look at it and say, with this study, is it possible that it would be, untrue? I guess it was also covered by scientists in the UK and Australia. But I look at that and say, these people are deep state central, man. We're talking about, you go back to Russiagate. These are the places where those things go to. Crossfire Hurricane. That's where the small group went. UK, that's where the ambassador was from. Australia. That's where the crazy, by the way, is going on with Australia. And I'm not skeptical in the way that says it's not true, but I'm one of those guys that really does believe in replication and says, look, if you can replicate this and you can go and you can find, and this is what a peer-reviewed thing's about. You go ahead and you say something, and you start with your idea, and you say, look, these are the controls we've got. These are the tests that were done. Here are our conclusions. Okay. Then other groups are able to then go and say, do I believe that's true? Do I believe it's not? And if people say, well, that was published in a really important peer-reviewed magazine, that may be true. But at the same time, as we've said here on the show, a lot of those things, there are people from the Lancet even talking about the percentage of studies that simply could not be replicated, that were published anyway. And a lot of times it's about money and about sharing, the stuff. So you got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. We got to be careful. We got to wait and see. And I'm not going to use very, very sure language myself. I'm not going to be like, well, this is the case. This is settled fact. This is the way it is. And this all happened because of this and that. I'm hesitant to do that. Not just because of the algorithm, right? But because of my own internal ethic to this. But what you're saying is true. Insofar as it goes, what you're saying is true. That was the reason for the lockdowns. Okay, was asymptomatic spread. It's the reason why the masks and stuff, asymptomatic spread. So it was saying, like, even if you're not showing it's the same with schools. They were like, look, kids could be asymptomatic and yet they're vectors. So that was at the heart of that, and that is what the study was about, and that is where the study was from, and that is the number of people who were involved in that. It's like, 10 million people? Controls would have to be tough, right? Let's see. James says, if you avoid paying taxes, you're a patriot. And that's whether or not you're, and in a real sense, man. I mean, that's ultimately, people talk about John Hancock. Dude, he was a major time tax protester. That's what that was about. That's why his name was so big. It was like one of those things, man. It's like Most Wanted, by the way. It's like Most Wanted. Let's see. See, it says nice to see you. It's, you know what? It's nice to see you, by the way. It's nice to see you. She's one of my old professors. Oh, and look at this. We got Ailey down here. Yeah, bringing down some coffee. Oh, look at that. I love my wife, by the way. I love my wife. You're beautiful, baby Kiki. Oh, there we go. All right.
One more.
No, I don't
There's
need
only
that.
one left.
No, really?
Yeah.
It's going to get so watered down.
It's on.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so and now she brought up the coffee, and then it smelled so good, and then she's like, here, pour in like 8 ice cubes. I don't need that. Yeah, but she made it. Did you made it that dark roast? Yeah, that way it's made for that, so it waters it down a little bit. It's fine. Okay. So anyway, let's see here. Lucia, one of the professors at Olivet College when I was going there. Some of the greatest classes that I ever had. I mean, a really, really fantastic person, and it's really great to see her. It's one of those things where, I always appreciate every once in a while I'll see one of my old professors hop in. I had one that messaged me privately on Twitter and told me that the waking up to the show and hearing the funny stuff, and he probably doesn't agree with me, by the way, on the rage and the political stuff, but appreciates the nuance and appreciates the journalistic integrity of this and the insight into political economy. In fact, he's a really important influence on my own life in the formation of my views regarding political economy and culture. And so to have him come in and say that he really likes starting his day laughing with the show, that's just a really cool thing. So I'm always really glad about that. James says, dang it, I was planning to send you an authentic Cuban cigar, a Cohiba, the famous cigar Fidel Castro smoked. Yeah. Yeah. As long as I'm still vaping, you can do it. So you got to do it fast, because I've smoked cigars like while I'm still vaping, because then it's not, I don't struggle with it. But if let's say I am off it all the way and I have no tobacco, I have no nicotine, I'm not relying on anything like that, and all of a sudden I stumble on a cigar, that's a tough one. But I've had cigars and stuff since I've been vaping. I've had that a couple times, and I don't go out and buy more. I have no interest in that. Let's see here. Flamethrower to sear a steak. I would do it, man. I would do it. Tom says, do the will of God in the present moment. The past is dead. Mother Angelica. You got to do it. Yes, you got to do the will of God right now. You got to do the will of God right now. I don't know if I would agree with Mother Angelica that the past is dead. I believe, well, to an extent, I know what she's saying. And I guess I'm tiptoeing on the idea of disagreeing with Mother Angelica. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people that are like, what? And come out, pitchforks and stuff at me. We're coming to get you. We're taking you down, Frankenstein. And I'm like, oh, no. But no, the democracy of the dead. In fact, some of my best friends have been dead for a long time. I read their books every day. So, and they're very alive. Their words are still very alive. Their words are still very inspiring, echoing from decades and centuries, millennia gone by. And so, but you're right. The idea about doing it right now, making sure that right now we're giving it everything we've got in our life. And the last comment I'll say, and we're moving on. Worst Christmas present, I asked for myself a Timex Sinclair computer. What? Programmed Hello World and never touched it again. Happened to be grown-up Christmas as well. What is a Timex Sinclair computer? I've never even heard of this. Oh, man. Never even heard of this, man. Okay. Here's something else I don't know, Kamala Harris releases bizarre video claiming her family has celebrated Kwanzaa since her childhood. By the way, do you guys know much about Kwanzaa? It's a ridiculous thing, made by a guy who, pretty wicked dude. It's some commie crap, man. It's some commie crap by a real perv. I watched a video. And I wish that I could share it, but it's got music in the background, and I don't know if that music is copyrighted. And so I don't want to share it with that information and end up, having an issue with that. So Kamala says, our Kwanzaa celebrations are one of my favorite childhood memories. The whole family would gather across multiple generations, and we'd tell stories and light the candles. Whether you're celebrating this year with those you live with or over Zoom, happy Kwanzaa. Yeah. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, the funniest response that they've seen so far reacting to obvious Kamala lie is, quote, of all the things that never happened, this never happened the most. They said, you must have a ton of old photos of you as a child celebrating Kwanzaa with your family. Could you post a few? Thanks. Oh, man, yeah. Grandma and great-grandpa celebrated Kwanzaa for many generations before it was invented in 1966, and you were 2. Unbelievable. It said Hinduism Today listed her as a Hindu member of Congress in 2017. Yeah. She seems to change based on who she's talking to at any given point. And that's just it's such a grotesque opportunism, isn't it? Isn't it? Doesn't that just like bother you badly? Oh, what the heck? Okay. The devil working overtime. This was actually from last week. It was 3 days ago. The devil working overtime. Netflix's Instagram post image reading, praise Satan. Satanic temple billboards erected claiming abortion saves lives. Even at the Capitol this year, at the event we did, because it was the Christmas extravaganza, right? So the Christmas extravaganza was a whole bunch of fun. Had a blast. Talked about it Thursday? On last Thursday's episode. But I don't know if I mentioned that there was, I may have mentioned that there was a display. And the display was of a Yule dog. And it had, it looked like something is kind of a mix of Wicker Man and, Midsummer. And so it's kind of messed up. And it said on there, the Satanic Church of Grand Rapids. Church of Satan in Grand Rapids. I didn't even know we had one. It's not, hard to miss it because you get people like this. You know what I mean? You get people like this. Take our poll. Let's see. Satan's been busy throughout 2020 and appeared he's not letting up. Netflix recently received major backlash over a reference to Satan in one of their Instagram posts. The streaming giant posted a series of images intended to advertise their new LGBTQ comedy movie called The Prom, which is about a group of down-on-their-luck Broadway stars who shall shake up a small Indiana town as they rally behind a teen who just wants to attend prom with her girlfriend. Okay? Some of the depicted phrases in the post include "'Tis I" and "Cobra Kai Never Dies," which were made on zazzgenerator.com. But it goes a little bit further, okay, where it says, people took a screenshot where it says, praise Satan, to prove the veracity of the post. Yes. Let's see if it shows the video. Yeah, okay. So, "'Tis I, Cobra Kai, praise Satan, praise Satan." There we go. So this is what they're doing, guys. This is Netflix, by the way. It's in Netflix, we all know. Netflix, we all know this, man. They're pedo country. That's pedo land over there, man. A bunch of perverts. Sickos, dude. Total sickos, man. So we got to deal with it. We got to deal. And we have to do better. we got to do better about maybe praying for people who are in that world, praying for people who obviously are just demoniacs and stuff like that, or just useful idiots for demons, useful idiots for the devil, because it can get pretty bad, man. It can get pretty wicked, and we got to be better. Speaking of having to be better, Trump sets beautiful as the new standard for federal buildings. Yeah, but dude, okay, somebody sent this to me, along with this, by the way. This is one of the listeners sent this. And I put in the thing with it. Why digital nomads hate analog, screened in theater, film-based movies, beauty, from a friend, okay? So yes, it's one of the reasons why they hate it. This is the cinema there in Amsterdam, 1921. So you can see, dude, just look at the beauty of that, by the way. Look at the beauty of that. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. The elaborate nature of this. It's a product of its culture, though. It's a product of its culture, and the truth is, some of the deterioration of that culture is because we haven't fought for it, and the other part is that Some of that's inevitable, in fact, with technology. You know, that just the advancement of technology is going to inevitably affect a culture, even when we don't even realize it. And we talked about that a lot, talking about the medium is the message, which is totally true. And so some of that's really unavoidable and inescapable, and in some ways irreversible. On the other hand, there are things that are within our control that we've sacrificed, and it's tragic, in fact. And one of those things are our standards for beauty. Oh man, that coffee's good. So okay, but it's tragic, you know. And you say nowadays, if somebody made something like this, or when they make something like this, I can imagine a lot of modern minds walking in. I don't even like the term modern either, by the way, but walking in, and seeing this and being like, oh wow, this is a throwback. This is, you know, LARPing. You know, and I don't believe that it is. I believe that it is grandiose. I believe it's gorgeous. At the same time, it's basically hearkening back to a foregone era, right? It's denying many of our culture's foregone conclusions, which is necessary in a fight against it, you know. And there's a cycle to everything with this, and we're at that place where we got to fight really hard. No, here, this right here is 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I think I'm just going to play the whole thing. Let me go ahead and get over here. I'm going to play the whole thing and head out here for a second. Give my voice a break. Take a couple drinks. Make sure, check out Paleocratdiaries.com to learn more about the show. We'll be back in a moment.
Going to Washington is not a career. It is a mission that you are called to. And I see a lot of great North Carolina supporters right here. And just as I said, I vow to you that I will go to Washington to fight for you, to do the right thing. I realize that it is incumbent upon me to do what is right. And so I'm going to alter my speech quite a bit. And I know my comms team and all my advisors are probably freaking out right now. But my friends, I've been studying our Constitution. And when you look at it, it says that state legislators are the only body that can change election law within their own states. But when you look at what's happened in a lot of these liberal swing states that have liberal governors and liberal secretaries of state, you can see that they have broken the law and gone against our Constitution with this election. And so, because of that, on January 6th, as the people of Western North Carolina sent me to Washington to do a job, I will be contesting the election. And USA! And not only that, I have a message, and I don't know exactly which camera's doing it, but I'm going to look straight into that camera. I have a message for all other Republicans across the country. If you are not on the record calling for fair, free, and just elections now and in the future, I will come to your district and I will fund a primary opponent against you. For too long, for way too long, the Republican Party has just been the party of no that has always conceded things. They've let God out of our schools. They have let socialism creep into our country. I'm telling you, when I look out into this crowd, I see the new Republican Party. Going to
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're seeing more and more and more of a generation that is traditional, a generation that is rising up. Okay, a generation that is saying that they've been awakened to the reality of mediums all around us that have impacted religion, they've impacted culture, they've impacted families, they've impacted schools, and more than that, the system itself. The very system, beyond the content, beyond the content, but the very system, the operating system itself that has replaced traditional means and mechanisms, that this is something that has to be dealt with and something that's confronted on a paradigm issue. And the book, The Fourth Turning, you know, there are things in there. I was telling my wife, I said, you know, there are predictions. One of the guys that wrote that book, talks about, you know, and he has a cyclical view of history. And I have a nuanced view on that. I have a nuanced view that I believe that there's cyclicality involved in this, if that's the proper term for it. But that it's like a bunch of cursive L's, right? That kind of go forward, and you're still making what's called progress. I know a lot of people who don't like the idea of progress, but we believe in a kingdom that starts like a mustard seed, and there's a continuity in that it grows and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or that leaven, it permeates through the whole, right? There's a continuity in that. There's a cause and effect in that. There's ups and downs throughout all of history, and yet there's still a continuity. History is not a river that you don't step in twice. Okay, history is a river, a stream that you do step in twice, and we can still call it history. But at the same time, there are things that seem to repeat themselves, and that's why it's valuable to look back and to say we need to learn from history. A lot of people say, you know, the only thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history. That's a cyclical concept. And yet at the same time, the idea that while we can see cycles and we can see how this stuff works, even generationally speaking, at the same time, number one, nobody's got a crystal ball. Number two, it doesn't always go the way that the people who believe in the cycles would insist that it goes. And number three, we see that continual growth of the kingdom. So we see that continuity. And yet the people that wrote The Fourth Turning, for example, they talked about the rise of the millennials. They came up with the term. So this written back in the 90s, they came up with the term millennials. And when they did that, they described them as being religious. They described them as being puritanical, even with speech codes and not using curse words and stuff like that. What they didn't foresee and what they didn't anticipate was that it wouldn't be the religion that we're accustomed to, that it's a cult, right? That it's a woke cult. And in fact, that speech codes are a huge deal for them, okay? And so we can look at it and say, you can forecast the way that different generations of people are going to respond throughout time, right? And that it's unsurprising that right now that nationalism is in fact on the rise. It's unsurprising. Spengler, people could read Yaki. I mean, there's different people that you could read that talk about this. Fourth Turning. Okay, so there are books that seem almost prophetic in what they're saying about generational cycles and things like that. At the same time, we have good reason. We have good reason to be hopeful and optimistic. We have a good reason to fight and not believe that this whole experience is like Valhalla, where you wake up in the morning and you go out and you fight and you die and you go through the whole rigmarole of the war again. And then at evening time, you go and you party and you wake up the next day and you're right back at it again. Okay. It's not Groundhog Day here. It's not Groundhog Day. So there's commonality and there's continuity and discontinuity. And we need to recognize both, and we need to encourage this kind of a thing, because people like him are beginning to show themselves and to reveal those changes inside of their heart and their mind that are based in reaction in part to the surroundings, but yet it's not just simply a reaction, right? Because we need to move beyond being reactionary. We need to move beyond that and say that we need to get to the place where we're not just simply saying, well, I don't like what's going on here, I'm going to clop off that fruit on that tree, or I don't like what's going on here, I'm going to prune that branch. But instead saying, I'm going to go back to the roots. I'm going to go back to the paradigm. And we're going to begin looking at this paradigm issue. And we're going to begin to see how that paradigm, number one, has been altered or changed or lost or abandoned. And we are going to see, what is the good within that? What is the necessary within that? What do we need to believe to make sense of what's happening around us? What has been handed down through time that is gold, that's wisdom of the ages, that democracy of the dead, the wisdom and understanding that they imparted to us? In many cases, through trial and error, but in other cases, through the treasury of faith. And to hold fast to that and to reanalyze how that applies to our lives. Because so much of what was called conservatism, in modern in a modern era since I was born has been a reaction to the left. And so the left, comes up with this idea, says, well, we're going to advance this, and they're pushing hard for this idea. And so many people on the right have simply tried to, pump the brakes. But they're still going in the same direction. They're not trying to turn around the clown car. They're not jumping out the clown car either. The clown car of liberalism, the clown car of materialism, the clown car of secular rationalism, all these things. And they're not jumping out the clown car. And we've got to jump out the clown car. We got to take off that makeup, guys. And think, because otherwise you're a person like, CPUSA or TPUSA. Sorry about that. TPUSA, sitting there and basically looking like a clown, clowning around, doing the ridiculous perverted crap. And thinking that it's not going to affect it, thinking, oh, well, we can keep marching forward. We're gonna be for, Christian victory. We're gonna be for conservative victory. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's oil and water, man. It's oil and water. And let me say this before you even talk about this. So here's the thing. I've said this before, and I believe this in my heart that. It's one thing, and I know a bazillion shows out there. There's a million shows, and you can probably name them off yourself, that every day they wake up and they're just trying to find the crap. They're just trying to find the crap and isolate and say, well, that's bad over here. Well, this is bad over here. Even the guy that was speaking in the previous video talking about, well, they took prayer out of schools, and they did this, and they did that. That's true. But even if you change the content of the school, the very system itself, the very idea of the technology, right, or the medium itself being public education, that mere idea needs to be analyzed. Otherwise, you can say, well, we're just changing the content, and the medium itself has no impact on us. That's just fake. That's fake. In fact, it's people who get wrapped up in the red meat. People who get wrapped up in the juicy steak that the burglar, right, the medium, public school, social media, any of these mediums around us, that we say we're so consumed. How about this one? Here's the red meat for one. The war on Christmas. The war on Christmas. So much of it is, well, look over here at what they did at this school with candy canes, or look over here at what they did with carols. And all the while, the burglar itself, the medium itself, the worldview and the paradigm themselves, those things go unanalyzed. They're not analyzed. They're not challenged in a profound way. Nobody's dropping the hammer on that. Well, people are. But by and large, the popular hosts, man, they just keep going about their business. And you go, dude, we got to make it our business to start talking deep about books, man, to start talking deep about ideas, and not just deep, but deep in a way that applies to everyday folks, man. Because it's easy for people to get in a bubble. And that, the intellectual think tank bubble, where they're all up there talking to each other about deep topics and everything. And then when it trickles down, it morphs into a bunch of reaction stuff to the crazy loonbird, topics and videos. And there's a place for all that. But if that's where you leave it, man, you're toast. You're toast. You're basically, again, you're shining brass on a sinking ship. It's what you're doing. And I refuse to do that crap. And I hope you do too. I hope you're refusing to do that. And you're beginning to say, rather than simply going after the same old thing, because that starts to feel like Groundhog Day, rather than going after the exact same thing all the time, to begin to really question the underlying assumptions, the ideas that people have that create their reaction to Christmas, or their reaction to the role of parents in education, or their reaction to the idea of taking away or providing school choice, or whatever it is, right? Giving parents money back so they can send their kids where they wanted to send them. That people begin to analyze and say, well, what are the assumptions? What's the history? Where did it come from? And was there a fight over that? And why did it turn from a fight over that into an acceptance of that and simply wanting to control the levers, the power? and to fill it with the content that we want instead. It's hard. It's not easy. It's easier to just simply watch people clipping off low-hanging fruit. It's hard to pull roots up out of a tree, out of the ground. That's hard. But that's the work we've got to do. Detroit is countersuing Black Lives Matter protesters for civil conspiracy. The city of Detroit is suing Black Lives Matter protesters after a group of organizers sued the local government. Detroit's suit alleges that demonstrators who participated in the racial justice protest this summer were part of a civil conspiracy in which they attempted to, quote, to disturb the peace, engage in disorderly conduct, incite riots, destroy public property, and resist police orders, among other illegal acts. The suit was filed in September, about a month after activists filed their own suit, alleging that Detroit police officers, quote, repeatedly responded with violence, end quote, end quote. And this is, of course, according to The Intercept. And so, yeah, I mean, how are you gonna respond to that, by the way? How are you going to respond to the idea? You look around and you see people burning buildings. You see people burning cars. You see people breaking windows all over the place. You see people doing crazy, violent, insane things on the streets. And they're like, you need to use a scalpel. Well, when you're in a big, huge crowd of people, that's going to be a hard thing to do. It's got to be a both and. You got to get the people out of the way. And when those organizers, and they leave themselves open to this, man. When those organizers are putting it together and they're fueling it and they're excusing it, and they make excuses publicly about why rioting and looting is in fact okay. Now, that might be good for a classroom. You can debate that in your ethics class. But on the streets, nice try. Nice try with that. Nice try with that. All right, here we go. So we'll keep track and see how that goes. Sorry, here we go. What's this? Oh, no. No. For one, it is a TikTok. Number two, dancing nurses. Should we even, I'm not even showing it because I know, number one, it's going to make me mad. Number two, you know that it's got music with it that's probably copyrighted. And I already sang happy birthday. So I don't want to mess around with that. I don't want to mess around with it, man. So we're skipping right over it, guys. Really sorry. Okay, from Myth vs. Reality. Talking about the Republicans and the government. They want to give us $600. The cheapest coffin I could find was $800. Some of us can't even afford to die. Dude, there's a video. I thought I had that up. There's a video. I'll just talk about it. I won't show it. It's remarkable. It makes me sad. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow. I'll just give you a foretaste of this to tell you what it is. So there's this guy, right? And he owns a business. And I don't know if it's in New York or where it is, but he's had it. Okay. Health department is showing up. Health department is saying you can't have indoor dining, you can't have outdoor dining, and now you've got it so that even if people are sitting on the benches outside, right? Benches that belong to the city, even if you have that and you don't go outside and tell that person to skedaddle, you can get shut down. And this guy shows up. So what does the dude do? The owner, he goes and he parks his huge honking truck right there in the road, blocks traffic, doesn't let him get through, blocks traffic. Of course, police show up. And they're all there, in their masks, talking to him, telling him, you got to move your truck. And he's like, no, I don't need to move my truck. She said, why aren't you moving your truck? He said, because the guy over there, the health department guy, he's coming over to tell us that we aren't even going to be able to have our jobs. And they said, well, we understand, your unfortunate situation. No, you don't. Cops, honestly, bless your heart, we need you, okay? In many ways, we need you more than ever in some ways. In other ways, I'm never going to ignore the many problems I actually have with the blue. Not going to do it because it's a both and. On the one hand, look, I don't idolize any group. I don't idolize them. I support them because who are you going to call? You got to do it. And I don't believe in this kind of Ayn Rand styled, diversity of organizations, private groups. And all. I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. I'm okay with the state having a monopoly on the sword. And so enforcement of laws. At the same time, just like any other entity, we've got to recognize the things that are no good. And one of the things right now that's no good is the enforcement of things that aren't even technically law. And worse than that when they do that, oftentimes they talk about, we understand the hardship. No, you don't. And the guy brought it up, he said, are you getting paid? Do you get a paycheck? Do you get to keep your job? Why, yeah, of course, they all do. What about the health department guy? Does he get to keep his job with all his benefits and all your benefits? He's like, it's hard to own a restaurant. It's hard to own a business. He said, I have people working for me. He said, the woman holding the camera, how is she going to get a check? The people inside the restaurant, how are they going to get a check? The man, my cook, who right now is at home with his wife because she just had a baby, how are they going to get paid? And then we're told by the law, we're told by the state, you still got to pay your rent on your facility. You still got to pay your rent on your home. You still got to pay it for the car. You still got to pay it for all of these things, to keep your water on, to keep your electricity on. You've got to do all these things, but you're not allowed to make money. You're going to lose money. And people can say, well, he could be a greeter at Walmart, can't he, Jeremiah? Why are you so mad about it? And to those people, I say, screw you. That's the first thing. You're talking about an owner of a business. You're talking about someone who invested their life, invested a bunch of money. That's like flipping a quarter on the ground and telling them to go buy a lottery ticket. Screw you. Why doesn't he learn to code? Why doesn't the cook, learn to code? By the way, think of how elitist all of this is. Think of how enragingly elitist it is. It's one of the reasons why I've sat there and I've been a populist, because I've seen how people who maybe didn't go to college, people who don't have a degree, people who do have a degree but find themselves in changing circumstances where they're not able to work, that I've emphasized the idea of manufacturing and emphasized the idea of returning to the land and ownership of property and things like that, back to the towns, diversifying ownership and saying, get away from this monopoly and hyper concentration of ownership in society. Get away from it. Personalize the economy again. Rehumanize the political economy again. It's why I've said it. Because we live in a day and age where we've dehumanized it. So the powers that be, it's really easy for them to say, oh, you can go home. You can go home. Oh, we're really sorry. Well, what should we do in the meantime? Well, there's protocol. You can call the supervisor. That's who sent this person. You can go before a judge. And they kept begging him to take the car out of the road. He wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. They were going to tow him. And they said, all we're doing is asking you to remove the car out of the road. There's a lot of people who are not able to go to work right now. And he goes, that's right. He said, they're not able to go to work right now. He said, you're here to tell us that we can't go to work right now. He said, I'm a desperate man. I want people to see the desperation of our situation. And a desperate man, that's a dangerous situation in and of itself. Just statistically, you look and you say, look at crime, look at drug use, look at alcoholism, look at domestic abuse, look at suicide, theft. And you look at that and you say, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, desperate situations. Desperate situations, desperate men. It's tough. And at the end of the day, not only can we not make the money that we want to make, not only can we not go to the jobs that we want to go to, but on top of all of that, the insult from lawmakers to say, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go to work. but you're going to be getting $600. Okay, now we're at $2,000 since all of this began. Again, you know how many people, and it's a matter of days right now, a matter of days, that we are going to see an overwhelming number of people who will be homeless. Do you know any right now? Do you know them? Do you know families who've lost their jobs? Do you know families who are looking down the barrel of an eviction notice? Have you been part of those conversations yourself? Have you had to talk to your kids and tell them that you can't pay the rent? And that you've lost not only your job, but you may lose your home. I see families in town. I live in a pretty big city. Second most populated city in Michigan. And, you know, I've seen situations with one day, it was a whole bunch of, it's a family, a bunch of kids, mom and dad. They took a shower in one of the fountains downtown. They all got in there, not naked, but they got in there and they were all lathering their faces and their armpits and stuff. And I was confused for a second, and I realized this family is homeless. They don't have anywhere. They don't have anyone. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? And more than that, are you ready to hold each and every one of these people accountable for the rest of their lives? I'm talking the government. I'm talking the government. I'm talking police officers who enforce this. That's what I'm talking about. Police officers who enforce this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to put your car in the middle of the road? Are you ready to stand in front of a business? Are you ready? And look, he brought up a great point. He said, what do we have to do? Do we have to go and burn down buildings and bash in windows? He said, that happened over the summer because of an outrage. And so you end up having rage on the streets, and you guys aren't out there arresting a bunch of people. And in the rare occasion you do, you let them back out again. And they go right back to the same crap as before. Are you going to do that with us? Do we need to go out and begin doing that? Do we need to get the torches and the pitchforks? What do we got to do? What do we got to do? We're really close, guys, by the way. In fact, it may be long overdue. Because there's a psychosis. I'm not even going to show this video. This lady is insane. This lady is insane. Oh, dude, here's the guy. This is the guy. Okay. Here we go. I'll play at least a little bit of this for you.
Yeah, I'm blocking his ass. Yeah, because he wants to come in here and say no one can work, so he can't work either.
Where do you work?
Bread and barley, right there.
Are you, what's his brother?
I'm Carlos Rome.
The owner of Bread and Barley? Okay. So you're the owner of Bread and Barley, right? So this guy's saying that you can't work?
Yes. Health department.
The health department?
Yeah, he decided to come today and take pictures of people outside and say that you gotta fine us and we can't work out here. So if we can't work, he can't work.
Okay, can you do me a huge favor?
I'm not moving my truck. You better get your supervisor out. Get John fucking Curley out, because I ain't using my truck.
The chief is not coming.
Someone's coming. I'm not moving.
We're talking to him, right? He's not coming. But so the traffic can get through, can we move it forward?
This is what happens
He's not
when
gonna go
people
anywhere.
get desperate.
He's not going to go
I'm
anywhere.
desperate.
Okay, he's not
Who's going to
go
pay
anywhere.
her car payment? Who's going to pay my cook's rent?
Listen, I will get a supervisor out here for you, but just so it's not hard on us, the traffic can go through.
I
Can
want
you
it
move
to
your
be hard
truck
on
forward?
everyone. I want everyone to see how hard this shit is. Everyone that wants to come out here and eat, they can. Everyone that wants to drive down Citrus and visit one of the restaurants, but they can't. This guy needs to know how hard it is. That's what he needs to know. You're out here enforcing, doing your job. Did you get a paycheck on Friday? Did you get a paycheck? Why people don't?
By the way, this is
I bet you got a paycheck, didn't you?
This is a potentially volatile situation. You can see, not only is he desperate, but he walks up to the car and you can see the man standing on the other side. That man's going to go to a comfy house with a comfy cushion of money. He's going to go there and he's going to know that he's able to provide for his family. He's able to buy all of his stuff on Amazon, buy all of his stuff online. He's able to do it. He's able to go and greet, Elmer at the front entrance over at Walmart. Edith and Elmer He's able to do that. No problemo. He ain't afraid. He ain't afraid for his kids. He ain't afraid for his life. He's not afraid that he's going to be warming up against, one of those fire pits outside with folks asking if he's got some heroin. Looking at little kids shivering in the cold. I've been homeless before, by the way. I've been homeless. I lived on the streets, man, for like 6 months, my senior year of high school. A little bit less than that. It was winter when I went out there. I lived under a bush. I've been in people's garages, shivering my brains out. No blanket. There was an RV or whatever. It was one of these little campers. It was a camper, and it was abandoned. I was gonna go in there. The problem is the windows were all broken, and you could see that there had been raccoons and other animals all inside. I wasn't gonna go in there with that. But I know what it's like to be afraid. I know what it's like to be outside when it's raining or sleeting outside. I was by myself. Fortunately, I had family. My grandma found out about it and was like, "Look, you got to stay with me." Changed my life, in fact. But the truth is, I've been there, and I can tell you, the idea of being in that place again, absolutely, it's a nightmare. The idea of being in that place again with a family, with kids, desperation. This man. And he's got adrenaline control because he didn't climb over that car and pop that dude in the face. I'm serious. An extraordinary amount of adrenaline control. But he sat there and said, I want people to feel it. I want them to know the desperate man. I want them to see the desperate man. We see you, brother. We see you. In fact, we're inspired. We're inspired by you. Because we can't go on and pretend that there's no consequences. And here's the problem with the left and utopian schemes. Dystopian schemes is the idea that the consequences are fine. You'll be able to make it through. And if you don't, it's okay. You're collateral damage for a greater cause. They expect us not only to accept that of ourselves, but of our children, of our churches and our jobs. And they're wrong. They're dead wrong. And I've warned from the beginning, haven't I? I've warned from the beginning. I said, look, what's so bad about this is that when people don't anticipate the consequences, and when people can't see past the end of their own nose, when they can't do that, they're not going to see what's going to happen when it's going to reach a certain place. It's going to reach a certain time where it's going to simply bubble up, and all that stuff that had been bubbling up for almost a year, all that stuff that's been bubbling up, all of those anxieties, all of those fears, all of that psychosis, all that psyop crap, all that color revolution crap, everything that went into that, all the barrage of propaganda that we have endured on a bunch of different topics, by the way, not just, sitting there saying, well, let's make good use of the situation. Let's make good use of it. And look, you can do that. In fact, I encourage people to make good use of it. We should have listened more to the priests that were like, look, in a situation like this, if we can't get around it, then we should use this time to really analyze where our hearts are. What are we when we don't have the trappings around us? When we're kind of in a situation for a limited time, more like people who may be in countries where no church is around. Are we as saintly as them? Many of us didn't think about that, myself included. I sat in front of a TV screen. I got fatter. I could hear myself getting fatter. And I wasted time. I wasted life. I formed habits that were bad, including, by the way, I wasn't vaping, by the way, when quarantine started. I'd been away from it. I'd been away from tobacco. Been away from nicotine. And found myself back in it, man. I was so depressed. It finally hit me. I mean, I eventually one day I just snapped. I'm like, I can't take this. But that's going to happen on a big scale. And it's scary, by the way. It's dangerous. And we need to not fall prey to that and be like, well, we're just going to run like a, bull in a china shop. That's why we need leaders to stand up and say, okay, Some things are inevitable. Some things are bound to happen. How do we limit the impact of that to target places and target things, right? That are going to, with the maximum amount of peace and the minimal amount of destruction, to make this point. Because not everybody is going to be as good as this guy with adrenaline control. And people are seeing stuff like this. You know? It's a weird thing. You know, seeing the idea, the changes in definitions that are happening right before our eyes. Right before our eyes. You know, and hey, debate the idea of, you know, what is herd immunity. But to see it's all viewed as ex post facto, kind of like this. Again, this is New York Times. Dr. Anthony Fauci has been slowly but deliberately moving the goalposts on when herd immunity is possible. He's doing so, he said, partly based on new science and partly on his gut feeling that the U.S. is finally ready to hear what he really thinks. Well, that's great. And again, we've known this for quite a while, but if people went against anything he said, they were in danger. They were in danger of being censored. They were in danger. How many of you guys lost your Facebook accounts because you disagreed with something that this guy said? And all the while, he's doing what I've said he's been doing. We knew it before when it came with masks, because he admitted it to the Senate, talking about, well, yeah, I said that people shouldn't wear them, but the only reason that it didn't work, but the reason why was because I had it up my sleeve, the ends justifying the means. And I was hoping that, you know, we wouldn't cause a shortage. And now he's doing it again. And not only with this, not only with the definition, but also with apparently something, he's got a gut feeling that the U.S. is finally ready to hear what he really thinks about what? About what? Why have you not said that all along? And why have we been required to parrot what he says? Why have we been required not to contradict what this single guy says? Why? Enough is enough. Here's the article. I'll let people go and read it. According to a study of 10 million, asymptomatic transition didn't occur. Again, this is a study of almost 10 million people in Wuhan, China. They published in November in the scientific journal Nature Communications, compiled by 19 scientists, mainly from the Huasong University of Science and Technology in Wuhan, but also from different institutions across China, as well as in the UK and Australia. And I encourage you to read it. Here's another one. And doesn't this, what do you think, by the way? How does this make you feel? Tel Aviv research. This is the Jerusalem Post. 99.9% of COVID-19 virus dead in 30 seconds with UV LEDs. This was published when? 2 days ago. Ultraviolet. Now, researchers from Tel Aviv have proven that the novel coronavirus can be killed efficiently, quick, and cheaply using ultraviolet light emitting diodes at specific frequencies. Do you guys remember, by the way? Do you remember when a certain somebody in a high position of power said something about that, and everybody flipped a lid? And if YouTube goes after this, I'm going to be like, look, you guys are really anti-Semitic. You guys must be anti-Semitic. You guys are censoring the Jerusalem Post. We'll see how far that goes. But the truth is, I'm only playing their game, by the way. Only playing their game, saying, look, is that what it is? I'm only quoting it. I'm not going anything further than that. But the thing is I remember everybody mocking this idea, and then they found a place in California, a major time hospital with a major time group that does specifically state-of-the-art, cutting-edge scientific research on therapy and treatment, right? Therapy and even trying to find cures. And they found that there was something, I don't know, similar to this right here. Similar to this right here. And what happened? They were deleted. They were deleted. If you shared it, you were deleted. But their whole account was deleted. They were blown away by it. How did this even happen? I'll tell you how it happened. For the same reason that people got deleted for disagreeing with stuff that Fauci and Birx were saying that they later admitted that they weren't telling the truth about. And in fact, that the people who got in trouble for that were saying at the time the very thing that those people now admit has been true all along. Doesn't that suck? Don't you hate that? I do. But we live in a world that's so terrible. Transdad home birth photo beautifully captures the raw emotion of labor. No, it doesn't. That's a woman. That's a woman. And that's not beautiful, by the way. We live in a time of insanity with the government where instead of sending Pakistan $10 million, where they, by the way, $10 million there for gender programs, that's what the government was doing. Instead of changing rules and coming against places that are way beyond their authority. Instead, they're saying, well, or making sure that the American people, as long as we're under this kind of situation, that we are not completely left to a fate of homelessness and hunger. Then instead of doing that, they're sending $10 million for gender programs. These people aren't even very clever. They could have, like Batman is thinking, why not send them 1 million liberals with gender study degrees? Hey, that would be much better. I mean, we could. But in closing, we got to say this, okay? And that is that when we look at it, right, some of this may be novel. Some of this may be new. It's new in our experience and things like that. But like I said earlier, even with linear history, even with history that goes in a line of progress with ups and downs, okay? Even in that, there are things that we experience that are common to all. More than we can even imagine. More than we can even imagine. And it's easy sometimes. It's hard to see it in the close-up. It's hard to see the similarities between civilizations and models and cultures that are generationally on each other's heels. It feels so different. But time and space actually makes it so that we can look back and say, man, I can relate to some of that. And it's easy. Why? Ancestral mathematics. In order to be born, you need 2 grandparents, or 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 grandparents, great-grandparents, 16 second great-grandparents, 32, and it goes all the way up to 2,048 ninth great-grandparents. For you to be born today from 12 previous generations, you need a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. Think for a moment. How many struggles, how many battles, how many difficulties, how much sadness, how much happiness, how many love stories, how many expressions of hope for the future did your ancestors have to undergo for you to exist in this present moment? You're not alone. You're not alone. Not just with those who are alive right now, but with the democracy of the dead. And we must learn from that. We must learn to distinguish between the good, the bad, and the ugly. We need to be able to eat the meat and spit out the bone. But sometimes to understand that bone may, in fact, the marrow in it, we may not just want to just chuck it. There's other uses for this. What is it called? Throughput. You got to be able to do different things with the things that with the dynamics and aspects of life, the principles, the policies, the customs and courtesies, the traditions that have been handed down through space and time from people more like you than you know. Last thing. He's starting, and then we'll go to comments. He's starting to show symptoms of free will and independent thought. And the doctor, mainstream media, says, crank up the IV drip of fear. And we need to know this. No, that's one of the reasons we got to turn it off. It's one of the reasons why we can't focus on the reaction. It's one of the reasons why we shouldn't just simply wallow in a pool of mud that we muck rake through every day to dig up some of the dirt and roll around and giggle at it. And instead to say, dude, get up out of that dirt, man. Let the pigs be in there. Let the pigs be in there. You need to get out of there. Stop eating all the slop. You need to get out of there and you need to start building. There's a foundation already laid. Some of that castle behind you that history has built up for you, some of it's been torn to pieces. The savages are over there right now, and they're trying to break it down. Fight them off and build again. Give it all you've got because you're important. Each and every one of you guys are important. It doesn't matter if it's something big. It doesn't matter if it's something small. You might say, well, how am I important? How am I important? Well, think of anything you do. Think of anything you do. God made you. It wasn't an accident. Don't believe that crap. It wasn't an accident. He made you on purpose. He designed you just the way you are. And he has a calling on your life. You need to take a knee for Jesus Christ. And to reference everything you do within that paradigm. Within that framework that says, hey, everything falls back to the reference of Christ the King and the advancement of that kingdom in space and time through the thoughts, words, and deeds of everyday people that he's changed. As well as contributions even from the world around us. Because even those will come in and out of the gates presenting gifts. But what is it that you do? You do it to the best of your ability. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to do little things. Don't get bogged down by thinking something too big. Be realistic. Be realistic, but also be willing to challenge yourself. It's like I told somebody recently, I was like, you gotta learn to take cold showers. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. I said, you got to make it really cold. It's kind of the given, right? You learn to take them. You do the Wim Hof breathing. You go and you take a cold shower. And I said, if you start, you can do it at the warm and make it colder, make it colder, make it colder. And then when you feel like you're literally shivering your brains out and you can't do it anymore, lower it one more time and breathe. So do what you think you can do. I'm only using that as an example. It's a small one, but the idea is the same. Push yourself. Don't push yourself to paralysis. Don't put yourself to the place where you're going to fall and not be able to get back up and keep on moving forward. We don't want burnout. This is a long haul. And you don't need to take on everything in the world around you. You just need to do good with what God gave you. You need to do good with those gifts and talents that he gave you. Leave those gifts and talents for others. Leave those to the others. Accept the idea that there's a division of labor. That some people have good talents over here and they may be weak over in this area. But thank God there's somebody else. You're not in the world by yourself. So don't act like it. It's going to hurt you. But instead you can sit there and say, what can I learn from other people? How can I work with other people, even in the small things? It doesn't even have to be political, man. I mean, we live in a day and age where everything turns out being political. It's wrong. That's actually a bad sign. Get back to drawing. Get back to painting. Get back to planting a garden. Get back to reading books, to reading, and not just political books. Read poetry, for crying out loud. Learn to memorize stuff. Do a hobby, learn woodworking. Play a sport. Exercise, eat better. Do things like that. Build family time. Start your days better. I need to do that with mine. We talked about it. We had a meeting and said, look, we need to begin and end our day better with morning and evening prayer. And when we eat food, we should be thankful before and thankful after. I agree. We all agreed. But to make that a better part of our life. Because in doing that, the impact even of just that, and that's not saying go do a rally somewhere. That's not saying go form a political action committee. That's not saying go start a think tank or create a website or go start a channel. It's not just saying any of that. It's saying you can do stuff at your home, beginning at your dinner table. And watch what God does with that. Watch what God does with that. And then watch as you do that, as you do those little things, watch as number one, you see and you're inspired by the things happening around you and the opportunities that God begins to give you, because the person who does great with a small amount will be given more. And God's never going to, he's never going to give you this thing that says you need to do this and it's too much. Even when you think that it is, like Jonah, and you flee from it. It wasn't too much. And you have to trust him. And you've got to trust that doing your best in your life with your thoughts and your words and your deeds, refusing to ever go, saying, I'm never going to give up. I'm going to keep on smiling even when it's tough. I'm going to keep it up. I'm a happy soldier, okay? I'm a joyous soldier for the King. And that you're going to die one day. You know that. That you do those things. You do those things and you start with those small things and say, God, you gave me this small amount. I got a widow's mite in my life. I'm not a big wig. I'm not super smart. I'm not somebody who went to, Harvard or Oxford or anything like that. I didn't, MIT, didn't do any of that. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not a great writer, but I'm really good at knitting. I'm really good at making food. I'm really good at making sure that my family is taken care of, and that I'm using my hands for craft. And I want to do more, but I want to do what I've been given the best I can, so that when that time comes, that I am discerning and accepting that if you bring more from me, but I must know it's from you. But if and when that happens, that I can trust that I've been prepared by how I have overseen and how I have utilized that widow's mite that you gave me. It's true. It's true. Alrighty. Last thing. We're going to go to the comments, man. We are going to go to the comments. Let's see here. Let us see here, man. Okay, I don't know why that just kept going down. I don't know why it kept going down. Oh, yeah, okay, sound. Yeah, people were like, sound. Raul says, I believe in technological progress, but social progress, as it is sold by modern liberal progressives, does more harm than good. Well, I agree with you, Raul, except that I would say it depends on what you mean by social progress, right? I don't believe that we're just in a cycle, or that we haven't gotten better at certain things. And sometimes we might get better at certain things, but that may result in unintended consequences that may end up being bad. And we've got to deal with those too. But I think that we have made, even within modern liberalism, we're talking, by modern, I'm including, going back even with the founding fathers, stuff like that. So we say, okay, so you take that idea, but there was a weak point in that. There's fatal flaws within that worldview. Okay. And those fatal flaws will inevitably, after a certain amount of time, those fatal flaws are going to end up resulting in not only the advent, but the flourishing of wickedness. And that's what happened, and it's one of those things to go back and look at the paradigm and to say, I don't want to go back to the same paradigm. And, insofar as that paradigm of liberalism may in fact not only be sinful, but may be the very reason why we're seeing so much sin. Or at least it's at the core, it's at the base, socially speaking. But I must believe in that. If for no other reason, you can look at the encyclicals of the church and see it. You can see the social dominion of Christ Jesus, the social kingship of the Lord. You can see it in space and time. And the idea that all things will be taken under his authority, that all power has been given in heaven and on earth. And that includes not just the private, that kind of ascetic dynamic of life, but also the social dynamic and cultural dynamic. But we still have a lot of the same, by the way, the same barbarism. We still have a lot of it. People say, well, we're not killing, we're not doing human sacrifice anymore. And you're like, oh yeah, we're just aborting babies. And we have to figure out what they mean by progress. There's a difference between change and progress. And just because a group uses that label doesn't necessarily mean that applies to what they're saying. you know? Kind of like I always joke around about the Patriot Act and how truly unpatriotic that thing was. And say, look, it doesn't, you know, you can call it that all day long. You can call it that all day long. It's like the Man-Boy Love Association, NAMBLA or whatever. You know, it's like that. Like, oh, well, yeah, there's a definitional issue here. The essence of the relationship here. The nature of it. Let's see here. Guardsman Gaming. Well, if someone tried to live like how these hippies tell us to live, most people would die at an early age. It's true, which is why those worldviews, and this is actually a positive thing, by the way. This is even people who are strictly beholden to a cyclical view, like Yaki and stuff, that even that authority and tradition end up winning. Authority and religion end up winning. You can look at it even with Jonathan Haidt in his book Righteous Mind, and say, look at the history of groups and groupishness, and you can see that people who have these dystopian views, utopia / or sick, SIC, dystopia, views, that those groups tend to be schismatic even with internally, and that they don't last very long. Their influence is short-lived, and that's the way that goes, because it's unattainable. It's like having democracy, and you get the debates over democracy and the influence of democracy. And you will have people who take it really hardcore who say the consensus model is necessary. Well, it's going to paralyze even a neighborhood. It paralyzes a home. If it paralyzes a home, it's going to paralyze a neighborhood. And you say, these churches that believe that, they're always small, they're always fragmenting to pieces, and they're always made up of groups of people that the only thing they have in common are their differences. In societies and civilizations, cultures, they don't work that way, especially high cultures. At least not when they're thriving. Raul goes further and says, reacting isn't enough. We need to analyze these things well in order to oppose them. I agree with you, dude. Totally 100%, man. And that's what, we can't just react. Spasmatica says, the thing about politics in America is that both sides reach conclusions from an emotional reaction to the other. It's totally true. I agree with, you're right on that. So much of what they do is based on, and the thing is, though, I will give it up to the New World Ordeites, is that they've been writing plans for a long time. You can read the greatest hits of their books and see like the way that they've the kind of predictive programming, the way that they're forecasting developments in technology and culture, things like that. And in fact, I bought some books that even this. I told you guys I bought this. Hold on. I said I bought it, and I'll show you another one too that I got. So I bought this. Okay. I told you guys we're not just going to respond to stuff that people are writing online. I'm actually going to read this book, and I'm going to break it down into probably a series that can be seen maybe as an unlisted series, because we talk about it already on the show. But it'll be an unlisted series. I also have this one, Decline of the West, Oswald Spengler. Okay. I've also got this one. This one was actually a suggestion of my friend Jay Dyer. This one here. Right. This is the Reflections of a Russian Statesman. I bought this one. This is one that I bought, and we actually have 2 editions of it, but I have 2 copies. Catholic Republic. I've got this one here. Imperium. So I've got a bunch of these books because we need to analyze, and of course, Brave New World, 1986, I already own those. There's a host of other books, of course, Quigley's books, Carol Quigley. So to read those and say, these people have analyzed this, a lot of them, and not all of them are Ordeites, by the way, but they're all forecasting and laying groundwork and saying this is what needs to be done, and they're advancing a philosophy. It's esoteric. And yet the right, kind of like with activism, you look and you're like, where's the Alinsky of the right? Where's the one writing rules for radicals or reveille for radicals? But for the right, there's one, I think it's called Action, or Action, French guy. And that one's quite good. It's also old, which is fine. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But some of it's maybe outdated. Same thing with Tactics of Christian Resistance by Gary North. Okay, he's a Calvinist. But Tactics of Christian Resistance is brilliant, by the way. Let's see here. But we need to do this. We need to provide that. We need our own art of war. And I know people say that about, and maybe it's true. I need to buy it. I originally was going to wait. I think I'm just going to buy it. But Rules for Retrogrades by Timothy Gordon and his brother. Let's see here. Bethany says yes to Mayahan. Be a vocal local. We need real representatives over pathetic politicians. Totally true. Totally true. Let's see here. Yeah, Guardian is right, saying we're massacring the economy one shutdown at a time. Yeah, Michelle Gerard says, I think that was Texas or California. I saw it. There's also another video going around that the owner and friends chased the inspector and police out and off the property. Michelle, if you have that, make sure to share it in the comments. And in fact, share it in the actual comments. Because otherwise, once it's done being live, I won't be able to click on it and see. So I appreciate that. Turn says they kept their jobs. You talking about the people in the video? Well, yeah, because did they chase them away? Yeah, Spat says defund the police, but take people's guns away too. Yeah, that's what they're. Well, I don't know if you believe that, but that's what a lot of people are talking about. You know, and saying defund the police, and they also want the guns to go away. And you're like, well, no, I'm against the latter. I believe that is a constitutional right that we have, and to defend ourselves. And I believe that goes pretty deep into the natural law, and divine law, in fact. But that we can look at it and say people can defund the police, and it depends on what you mean. Like people, you can streamline. I think take Office Space as an example. The movie Office Space, right? So you have these accountants come in, and not accountants, they are consultants. And they come in and they're evaluating everybody and they're asking them, you know, what do you do for the company kind of thing? You know, what do you do for the company? And in the you know, in that whole sequence of people coming in and talking about it, the main character in the film comes in and he's asked that question. And he's basically saying, well, I don't do much work, you know, and I kind of zone off for hours a day. And in a whole week's time, I might do 15 minutes of actual work. And here's why, blah, 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 blah. What's the incentive? But one of the things he says is that there are 8 different bosses over him. There are 8 different bosses. There's an overlap of authority, okay? You don't need that. There are certain things like, take, for example, Secretary of State's office. You know, what is the argument as to the necessity, right? Or the very strong utility of making sure that your car, if you have a valid license plate, also has a sticker that you got to change every year. You know, there's a great Hillsdale college article on that. It's old, but it's good. Talking about ways that we can defund without being, you know, people who are like, you know, believing in a stateless or policeless world. And in fact, doing that ends up making the whole thing much better anyway. That whole bureaucratic glut is gone. So there's ways to do that. And yeah, crime went up on lockdown. Yeah, totally. Because people don't have a job and because they have nothing to do. You know, work, every single thing that God cursed us with in the beginning at the fall, every single one of those things is a blessing in disguise. Right? The thorns of work, the sweat of labor. It's a big thing. You want to talk about, you know, how do you fix your mental health? Go outside, man. Walk around with your shoes off for a minute. Get your fingers dirty. Get dirt under your nails. Get sweat on your forehead. How do homeless people deal with the curfew? Do they simply get arrested? Most of the time, most of the time they simply wouldn't. Most of the time, it's one of those things, man, where, it's a good question, but no. I can't imagine there's nowhere to go. Let's see here. People are going crazy over the lockdown. And yes, the cop is following protocol totally 100%. It's true, they are doing their job. But I also believe, look, some things I believe to be unlawful. And I know it's risky business to say. Some things are risky business to say, and they may end up losing their job. But otherwise, you're going to go in. Look, without enforcement, there is no law. No law is a law if it doesn't have teeth of enforcement. It's true. But the thing is, you look at it and you say, I'm now putting people outside. I'm now enforcing this thing, and I'm telling them the only way that they can do it. Look, at bare minimum, they'll have an accounting to do. You would be obeying the rules, by the way. Abu Ghraib, for example, they were obeying lawful orders and a lawful environment that was created by their superiors, and yet they ended up getting in trouble later, right? And that's an earthly court. And you go, some things, man, people are going to eventually have to look and say, I can either obey this rule, like the Nazis. You say, well, going around people's homes, the conscientious objector might be, better off. Might be better off. Might also be a dead person. And that's where we are. And you might be better off moving your car and letting the inspector come in, but you're also going to be a homeless guy. I don't know. What's the situational ethic on that? What's the normative ethic on that? Yoker says people get aggressive when it comes to politics. They do. Especially in our day and age now, the cycle of civilizations, we're at a place now, it's unsurprising that nationalism arises. Totally unsurprising. And when it gets to that place, you're in the realm of power politics, man. You're in the realm of hyper-politicization where everything ends up being about politics. You can't escape it. You can't escape it. You see, you go and you're like, oh, I just want to buy some ice cream from this place. And then you go in there and, they've got LGBT stuff everywhere. I want a coffee. They got Black Lives Matter stuff everywhere. Like, goodness gracious. Can I get away? Can't we get away from this? It's time we start changing our thinking that leaders are going to fix things and start realizing change must happen within us. Yes. Yes. Zing Blue, thank you, Jeremiah. And good morning to the Wolfpack. Good morning to you. I'm super happy about that. I'm glad that you showed up. I always appreciate it, by the way. Yeah. James said, just send the trainees to Pakistan. What? So they can teach them personally. I'm sure it'll go well. Wow, man, yeah. Let's see. Turn says, fear-mongering is bad. People need to take the grill pill. The grill pill? What is that? I have no idea. Yeah, fear-mongering. And look, I don't want to fear-monger with people. That's why I say we have to actually be optimistic about things. We have to be optimistic about the way the future goes. We have to be aware of the situation, and there's a reason to be afraid, in fact. There's a reason to be afraid, and sometimes that fear is a blessing in disguise, too. Sometimes being afraid of something will cause us, it's not always scrupulous. It's not always unwarranted, and it's not always a spirit of fear, right? It's an awareness. I would be afraid. There's part of me inevitably that would be afraid, a dynamic of that, if someone, if I was by a cliff and a big rock is tumbling down at me, or an avalanche on a mountain, right? There would be a dynamic of me that's afraid. That's actually a healthy thing, because you're supposed to run. If you want to see what happens when you don't have that, affect the part of the brain that, is fight or flight. God equipped us. With fight or flight, man. It's good. It's a good thing. At the same time, there's a difference between different kinds of fear, too. Was it C.S. Lewis that said there's a difference between the fear of one experiences being told that there is a hungry lion in the bedroom, or being told that there is a spirit in the bedroom? There's two different kinds of fear that arise with that. Matt Davis says, I did not fear no one but Jesus of Nazareth. That is actually one to be afraid of, in fact. And to balance that out, he's King of Kings, man. And, you got this tendency nowadays to say Jesus is my homeboy and leave it at that. He's the cotton candy Jesus, and I don't believe in that one bit. I don't believe in that. And so, yeah, there is a level of fear and trembling, by the way, with that. At the same time, again, you have to understand the distinction between fear, and you got to be more nuanced. If someone's like, well, I don't have any fear, I'm like, you're lying. If I go like that at your face and your eye twitches like that, that's your inevitable reaction to where your brain is actually in fear reaction, right, to this. That you're going to get poked in the eye, you kind of do this thing, flinch. Why'd you flinch? Well, it's involuntary. Well, did God make you that way, or is that the devil doing it? Yeah, so we have to be nuanced, by the way. Spaz Road, Suicide of a Superpower by Buchanan is also an interesting book. Yes, is one of my favorite. I have that book as well. You know? I have a bunch of Buchanan books. He's one of my favorite. CJ Richard, looks like cream of tartar futures now have risen because of your show. Stores can't keep quarantine as people seem to be hoarding. There's a hint of underground market starting to emerge. Totally. Tom says, sweat of labor. Exactly, JB. I'm regrouting my shower as I'm listening. You're making it bearable for me. I'm really glad, by the way, Tom. I'm really glad. And I'm glad you're tuned in, brother. I'm glad you're tuned in. I'm glad I'm able to help out, man. You know, to make it bearable. I hope I do a little better than that, though. I hope I make it enjoyable. Somehow magically, man, that you're able to have joy in that moment. Joy in that moment. All right. Let's see. Isn't everything they're doing keeping human in fear? Matt says, isn't it everything they do to keep human in fear? Yeah, or to keep fear in humans. People are, yeah, there's so much fear-mongering, man. So much fear-mongering. Lastly, CJ says, I've launched an investigation because it is sad when we can't even get a reasonable supply. Maybe it's being used in an illicit way by the Gretsch to cast spells. You're talking about cream of tartar. And if you don't know what that's about, you got to see the unboxing episode. I opened up a Christmas gift. On the last episode that we had. Oh no, what's up with that? Where is it? Okay, well, I'm going to go back to the main. Why not? There we go. So, okay, yeah. So, and by the way, we're closing down so the family can come on down. The family can come down as we get ready to close off for the day. But the last episode was Thursday's episode. You can find that at Paleocrat on YouTube, youtube.com/Paleocrat, as well as many other channels, my Facebook page, other things. But we opened up a box from a listener, and I got a feeling, man. I got a feeling there was, in fact, some triangulation. I think there were 3 people involved in the scheme to make sure that I didn't know the source of the cream of tartar. The cream of tartar. And I do know. I've got a feeling. And by the way, I know 2 of them. So I got to confirm the third. But I've triangulated them buggers, man. I've said, it's 3 of them. And so, very cool. All right. Oh, look at you guys. Is Louis sleeping? No. Be careful of that. You hurt yourself?
It's Athen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're over my shoulder. Great. Somebody's got to go on the other side, man. There's 3 of you guys.
Yeah, Athen.
There's 3 of you guys. You got to get in. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, he's popping up. All dramatic. All theatrical. So make sure to check it out, guys. I'm really grateful for all of you. Is Mama coming down? She should come down. Well, okay. I don't know. It's making me sad. Dude. Wolfie's not down here. Little Louie. Oh. Wolfie's sleeping? Yeah, but I need Louie, man. Oh, I got little Lou coming. All right, guys. And remember, 100% of the donations that go to the show, 100% of them, 100% go toward, hold on, buddy. There we go. 100% of the donations go towards sending our children, as you can see in this, you guys got to come in here, as you can see in the video, to continue going to Sacred Heart Academy in Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right. Oh, hold on a second. No, that's not it. That was the wrong screen. I am very, very, very grateful for each and every one of you, man. Make sure, check out paleocratdiaries.com to learn more about the show. If you'd like to be interviewed, if you would like to interview me, do speeches, debate, all you got to do is you have to email paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. Connect with us that way or on social media. Doesn't matter. Of course, go to Paleo Cheese Podcast on Acast. It's on, where is it, man? Spreaker, Spotify. It's all over the place. Google Play. So it's all over. You can find that. We just posted a new episode. We showed clips, 7 minutes worth of clips earlier in the show. You can find us on YouTube as well. Remember, Paleo Cheese is one word and has a Z. Okay. Also, of course, meaning of Catholic. I'm going to be connecting with Tim Flanders. Already did, in fact, to have him on the show. It's going to be a great time. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until next time, as we always say, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori. You rock that, Louie. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off.
The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge and maybe a funeral procession.